Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Let's just say disaster strikes, and this negatively impacts Drake May, and you stuck without a quarterback.
So May is playing, but he's not playing well.
Well, they didn't do anything to support him. They failed him. They ruined him, and that's the narrative. Say this time in 2 years. We're not allowed to say that.
By drafting Joe Milton?
We're not allowed to. Yeah, we're not allowed to say it though.
Well, I think that would be incorrect.
But you didn't see it. Wait.
No, but if
it's a hypothetical. Were there more reasons Mac Jones was a bust other than they hired Matt Patricia for the offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to say that.
That's a lot different than drafting Joe Milton.
Just as long as I don't hear you say it.
No,
ever.
it's not even apples to apples.
So don't ever say it. Then.
Allowed to say whatever you
Nope.
want.
Nope.
And everyone's allowed to.
If I do that, I'm just being a baby. Check it at the door next time.
Okay.
I'll be all on board.
Baby. When you start saying, well, I can't say what I... When you act
can't.
like a baby,
Obviously you
you're a
can't.
baby.
It's going to be fun to just get out there, see what they look like, see what they move like, and I'm just excited to see what Joel Milton looks like.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. It's Deuce, it's Alex, it's Paul, it's Fred. Evan?
Doing interviews with Onwenu and Bentley, I think.
Okay,
He's talking.
and so
he's
he'll
gonna
be
listen
by
to them.
later?
Yeah, he'll be by in a little bit. He's going to listen to those guys and ask Michael Onwenu about his bike riding through the locker room. Anybody see
that was
yesterday?
wild.
Like
Yeah.
him just like...
And who filmed that?
Kendrick Bourne, I think.
Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it seemed like Kendrick Bourne. But
So that's new.
yeah, there's a basketball hoop
You
there in
wouldn't-
the shot,
you
too.
wouldn't have been able to do that a year ago.
No, riding your bike. Go ride your bike outside.
Or having your phone out
Yeah, you got to
in
get
the
it
facility.
approved.
Yeah, forget about the bike. Just filming social media content.
Yeah.
Are those rules just for in season?
Maybe.
I thought when you come here to work.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So
Not tonight, I guess.
Good job, Fred, pointing it out.
I don't know if the basketball hoop is brand new or if it was just replaced.
Yeah.
I think they've had basketball hoops in the past, but they get broken.
They definitely had Connect 4,
Okay.
right? We've
That's a
seen that.
throwback.
They always had
Yeah,
Connect
I
4 back
don't
there.
know. I mean, you guys have been in the locker room way more than I have lately. I don't know that they've had basketball hoops in the locker room.
I've never seen
I
them
haven't
before.
seen that.
Well, we talked about it for Static Camp, and I think Richie, one of the guys that works in football, was telling us that when they do have them, they break them because they take the games too serious.
I want to
Guys.
set up a hoop.
Guys.
Me too.
I want to set up a hoop right here in the TV compound.
Oh,
Okay.
So, when there's no trucks, we could just go down and shoot around.
That'd be
I mean,
fun.
that'd be good.
The ceiling's certainly high enough, right?
good for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Work on my shot. Evan, we can put Evan in his place because
Oh,
he probably
yeah.
think he's flexing, telling us all about what a dynamic CYO basketball player. Well, actually, he's not. He didn't play CYO.
I'm not sure he plays CYO.
Whatever his youth basketball league
That would
was.
be JCC.
Okay.
Well, I told him he can pick anyone against me and Janasia.
Oh well, Janasia, that girl, she can play. She's
You
a
guys
coach.
are both
Yeah.
legit basketball players?
I've never seen her play, but I think she would be.
I think so too. I talked to her. Well, no, she coaches though.
She coaches. She coaches boys.
Yeah, she
No,
coaches.
she said that's her.
Yeah.
She played
Yeah.
basketball.
That's
We've
her
talked.
sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit. She played AAU.
I love talking to her about
She's a
been
Dorchester
first year
girl.
coaching. So I love hearing her
Me
go through
too.
the coaching experience, and
It's very wholesome.
there's always a pain in the
This
ass
is the
kid.
information I don't get.
Yeah.
I'm down in my dungeon.
Yeah.
Gotta come
I wasn't aware of
upstairs.
that.
Gotta come upstairs.
I'm up a lot. Told to go back down.
Get
Deuce
your
told
Pepsi
me,
and leave.
Deuce told me today.
I had a call. I had a call with DMAC.
I have a call.
Anyway, people listening don't know who these people are, but
Devin McCoy.
They knew who Devin McCourty
yeah,
is.
no, I'm the other. Anyway, so got a new kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sly.
Yeah.
Joey Sly. Yeah, little
from the
veteran competition.
Jaguars.
Yeah.
Any
Sly
good?
for a Sly guy.
He was
it's been all right.
Washington's
Can't
kicker
be that
for the last
good, right?
couple years.
She's available.
Yeah, they
It's true.
Yeah, the Jags just I guess the Jags must have drafted somebody and don't care for competition, but
Wow. Wow.
but I mean, joking aside, and I don't want to get back into the Joe Milton of it all, but I mean, it does seem like this
Why, what happened?
regime is.
You have no threat of that.
No,
I told you that on Tuesday.
I do think that this regime has carried some of that over from Bill, which is competition,
Sure.
and making sure that that nobody feels too comfortable maybe. And I think that that's certainly the case at a number of positions on the offensive side of the ball as they try to, find a new offensive line from all these bodies.
I mean,
that they
believe it
got.
or not, most coaches are like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Carroll, believe it or not, was like that. He always, fancied himself at having a very competitive practice and training camp, and most coaches want competition.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just sometimes you think
iron sharpens iron, dude.
I've actually heard that.
Yeah.
But it's just, sometimes you just think about some player well, he should just have the job. He doesn't need this guy breathing down his neck
If he
right
made some
now.
field goals last year,
you know.
there wouldn't be another kicker
No,
in camp.
and that's specific to Ryland.
This
I
is an
agree
excellent
with you.
move.
I agree with you in the respect to Ryland. That wasn't
on.
the point I was
Check-
trying to make.
check-
Go ahead. Go to your little
Notes.
poll.
Yes, this is an excellent move.
But sometimes other position groups, it's just kind of really, do you really you need another body there? But you know how it works. Sometimes these guys, people get hurt, and you can always use those guys that have been in the building since the spring.
Yeah. So that happened.
Did.
And then today, just probably right now, the remaining Tom Brady Day tickets are up for sale on Ticketmaster, June 12th.
Go get them. Go get them, people.
Anyone
Yeah.
see what they're going for?
It's $100.
$100.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go get them. I would just, as a Patriots fan.
Well, there's not many left. I can tell you that.
Go right now because
Yeah.
they've been up there for about 6 minutes. But
I
I
wonder
just
what the
say, as a
secondary
Patriots
market's gonna look
fan,
like.
it's worth it. It's worth it to be there. If you're a Tom Brady fan and you want to see him honored the way he should be honored,
Yep.
with all kind of surprises and all kinds of fun, and not, and some people are like, oh, it's probably the same old cast of characters that you're gonna roll. No, it's different, and there's just a lot of really cool stuff. And I think if you're a Tom Brady fan and you miss this, you're gonna be kicking yourself in the butt because it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be something that goes down in Patriots history.
Yeah.
Just the same way Larry Bird night did
Yeah.
for the Celtics.
Yeah.
It was well done.
Yeah.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
I thought it was kind of, he's getting roasted this weekend too.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, which was, but I feel like it's a good complimentary thing because you're gonna have everybody come out,
Yeah.
kind of tease him a little
So you
bit
can
this
lick-
weekend.
You can lick
and-
his wounds at
right.
Brady Day.
And then you're gonna have some of the same people coming back and kind of glowing about him and nice. So I think it's gonna be hopefully complimentary and not intrusive to either thing.
Yeah,
So that's
complimentary
my hope.
with an E and an I.
I think you corrected me on that a couple times, Fred, on things I've written, but I think I've got it down now. So
Yeah.
the difference between the E and the I.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of complementary weapons, complementary pieces to the
Go Holy
offense.
Cross?
I did, but I didn't know the actual name of the library till about junior
They complement each other, and when they do well, we will compliment them with an I.
There you go. Right. That's like the brown horse jumped over. What's that saying that it gets every letter in? You know what I'm talking about? No.
No.
The
house.
brown fox jumped
Jumped
over the fence or something.
Yeah. Never mind.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. What else? So we got Brady tickets. We got a new kicker.
New kicker. We're supposedly going to see the rookies next weekend, right?
Did we mention that they released Connor McDermott last show? Or was that
no.
after the show?
No.
That is news.
Yeah.
No.
That is news.
Yeah.
Got rid of him. So that gets him down to eight tackles. I maybe do air quotes on the tackles because some of them have, Mike Onwenu, I guess, is a tackle. But I don't know. I continue to wish Onwenu would go back inside. I just think that that's his best place. And
Well,
I'd love if they could find two tackles.
yeah,
to
well,
play.
that's the thing. If he goes back inside, it means that they have somebody outside. So
Right.
that now you've increased the depth.
Yeah.
So that's why I would want him to go inside, is because they've got a real tackle out there. Not that no disrespect to Mike Onwenu, he could be just as good, but you want as deep and solid a line as you can possibly get. And I think Onwenu spent most of his time at guard. That's his more natural position.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think that the upside of that would be to have, and I know that it's not ideal because you have two guys that have played almost predominantly right tackle with Chooks Okorafor and Caden Wallace. They've been right tackles, but you could have Wallace as a rookie, which is very common even with left tackles in college to play right tackle when they first come into the league. Even I think Jonathan Ogden did that. But if it wasn't him, even guys of that stature sometimes play as a rookie on the right side before getting entrenched on the left. And if Okorafor could play left, now you have Onwenu freed up to solidify the inside with David Andrews, and now all you have to worry about is one spot. So that I think would be ideal. But I'm not sure if it's plausible.
No, I mean this is probably along the lines of still believing in Christmas. It's like Calvin Anderson. I mean, he has started a bunch of games at left tackle in the league. I mean, I don't really want to hang all my hopes on him, but I do think when you look at the actual depth chart, he's the only player who's played significant amount of time in the NFL at left tackle.
He's the only one that has any experience.
So maybe he's a little bit of a wild card. But I did speak to, I know Paul's writing the profile on Wallace, but I did speak with Eric Alco from the Shrine Bowl yesterday, who Wallace was at, and he said the feeling around the league was that he would be the top swing tackle drafted. Like that's what they kind of saw him as he could play both sides. We talked about how Olu Fashanu kind of had locked things down on the left side, so he never really had the chance to play left tackle. But there is, I think, some feeling in the league that it's a potential move he could make. So we'll see. I mean, there's no guarantee.
The other news that came out at the end of the beginning of the week was, of course, Barmore's deal. And since then, his agent released a little video of him here at Gillette signing and all that. And what do you think of that video?
That's a good question. I don't really.
I mean, anyone can answer. I'm not interviewing Deuce.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
either.
No.
Yeah.
I saw them posting. I didn't see the actual video though.
No, it was it was him walking in and it was kind of like, here's the look of a $90 million man, or this is what
That's what she
$92 million
says.
kind of.
Right, yeah.
That's what she said. His agent. I don't know. That's a good question, Fred. I'm a little torn on how to answer.
Okay, so think about it this way. Forget about if you're Deuce. If you're Christian Barmore, are you like?
Oh, you're feeling it.
Okay with that? With my agent posting that?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so. I mean, I just think it was a big moment for them both, and I don't know. I didn't recoil from it, and wow, this is awkward and this feels weird. But I guess my hesitation at the same time is just like, you're kind of like strutting your stuff now, and it is a little bit weird to put that out. But at the same time,
I guess it's all new.
he's worked
for us.
hard.
It's just so different.
Yeah.
It's giving us the jump scare.
He's worked so hard, and obviously it's a huge deal for his agent to put that together. So congrats to her. But I don't know. I'm happy for Barmore, and it goes back to what we talked about of just as a fan being able to know which players you can get behind, and I think that's one of the things that fans haven't had the last couple of years. You don't really like right now. I feel pretty good about I think we're going to keep Christian Gonzalez for a long time.
Right.
Previously, I might have been like, well, he's here for 4 years, maybe 5, and then most likely he's probably gone. So I just, from a fan headspace, it's nice to feel like you're going to be the players that you invest in and start to get attached to, that you can form those long-term bonds, because you haven't had that in a while.
Speaking of Gonzalez, he was courtside at the Celtics game.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of FaceTime behind Spo all night too.
Yeah.
He looks good. I mean, I'm just excited to see him back. I mean, it was always just so fun to watch him move out on the field. But like I was saying earlier, though, I mean, we were supposed to get a look at these rookies next Saturday.
So now,
crazy.
so the next thing here is rookie minicamp. What's the dates on that?
Yeah, our access day is supposed to be Saturday,
The 11th.
The
10th and 11th, I think, is the
yeah.
plan.
I think they are. They're out there the first day, but I'm just curious what that looks like, what they're going to do. I hope that they kind of protect the players a little bit and don't have them doing anything too, competitive or anything that people could read into. But it's just cool to get to see these guys play. It sounds like Jalen Polk's going to take number 1 too. So things are a lot different now with how the access you're getting with these rookies.
Yeah. So we'll be having content throughout. I think media has 1 day of access, but we'll have some extra access here.
Some pictures.
Yeah.
And stuff like that as they drink from the fire hose, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
The rookies.
Iron sharpens iron.
We're getting them all in today.
Love it.
What else before we open it up to listeners? Anything?
What else? No, I mean, I think we're just. I mean, you see, I think the roster is full now with the linebacker that they signed. So, for the moment, it seems like everything's kind of in place. I know we talked about Stephon Gilmore, maybe another veteran addition, which I would be on board with.
Yeah, another outside guy, right?
Yeah.
The
little experience, good size.
It's the first. It's like Zamides, but what is the first name?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Archimedes.
Shoot, I didn't reprint my.
You don't have.
I didn't
Greek
print my thing.
mythology
This is the
thing.
problem.
Your color-coded depth chart lasted 1 show.
It's so beautiful.
Did me and Fred arguing so much upset you
I
so
did.
much you couldn't even?
I didn't even print a new one. I was just so enamored with the color on it.
He was rattled.
We rattled him, Freddie.
Yeah.
He's done. Sorry.
Okay. I'm just looking to see if there's any updates on the Brady. Maybe it's already sold out, but
Oh
I
man,
haven't heard anything yet.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah. So if people are trying to, or have bought since noon, let us know. Or if you just got on there and got denied, let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to get an update on what that's like. But I do know they're getting close.
Selling it out.
Yeah.
I mean, because they got to cut some of the stadium. I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah, I think capacity for this event, because you get the stage and blocking the south end zone. I think it's like 56,000 or something like that.
Little less than like a concert.
Yeah.
Or more.
it's like Brady.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. So that'll be great. I can't wait for that.
It will. It's like I kind of feel like you got all the draft guys, and now you're like, all right, and now I want to see them. You waited all these like 2 months to just finally get to this point where you know who the Patriots drafted, and now you're quickly turning the page to, all right, well, let's get on the field.
So I'm going to be a little selfish here, and at the end of the show on Tuesday, Mike had mentioned that he and I were going to be doing something with Josh. We kind of teased it. It was with Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I didn't know if you guys wanted to bring that up.
Well, now that
make it a surprise.
Now that we did it, I think that we should absolutely. And it was an absolute home run. How well it went. And basically, what Mike and I did was we got together and came up with what we thought were the 12 best
drives,
game-winning drives for Tom Brady. As part of the Brady festivities and content that we'll be putting out leading into the night. It's not going to be probably something that we'll see during the ceremony on the 12th, but heading into that week. And Josh sat down with Mike and I yesterday, and it was incredible. Like, just the amount of memories and detail that come back with it. And it was Josh like he would be doing if he was breaking down the film that week, if the game had happened that week. And he's showing Mike and I all these different things that probably get overlooked by a lot of people, including us at the time. And I think it's something to keep an eye on. We'll be promoting it. We'll let you know. We're not exactly sure how we're going to unveil it and present it, but it's something that you guys, especially people on this show, because I know the people on this show they're the inside football guys. They're the diehards that want any and everything. And this is something you won't want to miss.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of cool things since I started working here. This was the coolest thing.
It was incredible. I
did.
loved it. We sat with them for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I said to Mike, as soon as we were done, I could have done another hour and a half easily. It was so enjoyable.
I said to my dad,
so much fun.
It's learning to appreciate Brady, what made Brady great. And everybody knows he won Super Bowls. He had comeback drives. He had touchdown throws. But Josh shows you what made him special, from snap to snap, down to down, every moment, little subtle things. I mean, I see Tom Brady in a whole different light. And like you said, Paul, like I could have sat there for 2 more hours just watching him go through the all-22, show us, look at him here. He sees exactly what it is. He knows where he's going with it. I'm so excited for the fans to see it, especially people who really get off on quarterback stuff and quarterback play and what made Tom Brady elite.
And Mike and I played the hits. We got, Super Bowl 36 against the Rams and, the overtime game-winning drive against the Falcons and the Chiefs. But there's some other stuff in there that you probably don't necessarily remember with the same amount of detail. So we kind of gave you a good little cross-section of regular season, postseason, different stages of his career, earlier, later, and just sort of the maturation process that you could actually see as you go through them.
Yeah, the cool part to me was just that Josh started off as a coaching assistant, and we know he left for a little bit, but he was basically there for the whole thing. He saw all the development. I mean, he made a joke. We were talking about a game in 2006 that we were reviewing, and it's like, all of a sudden you're the offensive coordinator. How was that transition? I was very lucky to have Tom, ease that, but they became such a dynamic duo, so to speak, and Brady and McDaniels. I mean, this will live forever, and I think it'll be something that people really want to look at how great Tom Brady was. I think this shows it in a way that nothing else has ever shown before.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how they edit it.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we're going to need to sit down and figure out exactly what our goal is.
Yeah.
To try to present it in the best way possible.
I was telling No Socks that it should be edited in a way to make it look like the old NFL films thing when Steve Sable would sit down and maybe kind of have that kind of look to it.
Yeah, that was. I mean, those were my. I mean, that's for me like that. I love those films. Like, and everyone remembers those where Steve Sable sitting in a button down and a sweater, and he's sitting in the studio within his chair, and it's almost like Masterpiece Theater, kind of how he would introduce it.
Well, I was definitely thinking the Masterpiece Theater thing because I know there had to be a camera behind us, and contrary to popular opinion, they did not show the plays on the back of my head.
But I heard you got a lot of compliments from Josh and your memory.
Yeah.
Like you were throwing stuff out there, and he's like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, it's the steel trap.
Yeah.
Paul's like calling out corners' names.
Yeah.
It's the useless stuff that I can't
but
somehow monetize.
in this case, it was useful.
Right. As soon as we got about 2015, Paul zoned out. He didn't remember any of this.
I was laughing with Deuce because I was sort of talking about different personnel on the other side of the other team. And I have a recollection for the individual players that were involved in so many of those plays from 06.
Yeah.
Much more so than I do now.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me, like the Denver game last year when they went down the field and, set up the Ryland game-winning field goal at the end, I couldn't tell you who the cornerback was that gave up the big play or anything, for Denver. But you asked me, like,
why do you think that
07, it was like, hey, it's Juan Bethea. It was on Randy Moss.
Is that because we were doing the paper?
It's because I'm a loser.
No, seriously.
The brain gets harder as you get older. It can't retain new information.
Yeah.
The brain.
Really? I have to push some other stuff out?
You gotta get rid of some of those old
Alex,
baseball
you probably
stuff.
have a theory on that. What do I have to do?
Get rid of your Northeastern
olive oil?
baseball memories. Olive oil, definitely. If you want me to go into a rabbit hole, olive oil everyday consumption is really linked to good memory function.
What about omega-3 fish oil?
That's too, definitely.
I have a good memory.
Because I take that every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. No, I'm only kidding.
Fish oil.
I do take it every day.
Some
though.
fish oil
Do you
is sketchy. You got to get a reliable fish oil.
Yeah.
But you need a lot of people are deficient in omega-3s, and then their balance of omega-6s is too much, and it can.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. If anyone actually knows more than this.
Oh,
on
somebody
me.
else
There
listening
gonna be
will.
some nutritionists
Yeah.
being like, wrong.
If you're out
Everybody
of balance
knows
in
more
omega-6
than
is
you.
really bad. Really bad.
Okay.
That's always the rule of thumb. Always assume they all know more because
Yeah.
they will let you know.
But olive oil, great for brain function. Brain superfood.
All right. Well, let's get to the listeners. 855-PASS-500. Programming note, around 1 o'clock or so, Mike Reese of ESPN, one of the leading Patriots beat writers, will be joining us to get his take on the draft and in the current state of the team. So we'll be talking to Mike around 1 o'clock, just before or after we get to eat. All right. Let's get to the Ace Ticket Hotline. We'll start with Tim in Westford. What's up, Tim?
Hey, I just want to talk about Drake May for a minute.
Okay.
Really excited by the pick.
Okay.
I think, looking at him after all the draft hype has gone down, a lot of people have compared him to Josh Allen. I don't quite see that. I think Josh Allen is kind of a one of a kind. Super elusive kind of quarterback and a rocket arm. I think Drake May has a plus arm. I think he's, kind of prototypical.
Yeah.
But I see it more as like a Jordan Love as an NFL pro comparison. Still a great player.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess my other feeling is, if this offensive line situation is really not good this year, I think it's in the best interest of Drake May to not play him.
But how will we know that?
Just because.
Yeah. I mean,
we'd have to
might we find that
evaluate-
out before, when it's too late? How do you know if the line's going to be good before they start playing games? And if you want May in there right away, he's going to be in those games.
Well, I don't think they should play him right away.
So
What if
regardless.
I don't think.
What if he's good enough to play?
Well, he might be physically good enough, but I don't think he's going to be a full field reader by the time the NFL season opens. I mean, that was one of the big knocks on him coming out, is that he was kind of a first read guy.
Okay.
So I think he's going to need some time, not only just getting used to the playbook, this offseason, but also working on his footwork and becoming a full field reader. So I think Jacoby Brissett is starting no matter what. And I think if we see bad offensive line play, then, he can't go in until the offensive line improves. And if it doesn't improve, then, I see a whole year with him not playing.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Count me among those that absolutely hate that mentality.
Well, listen, the whole thing where I veer off of what Tim was saying is Jacoby Brissett's going to start no matter what. Why?
So it has nothing to do with the offensive line. This is Tim's view, and this is a lot of people's view. But it has nothing to do with the offensive line. You don't think that Drake May is going to be ready to start. He may not be. And if he's not, I would suggest Tim's right. Don't play him.
But he says
if he's ready to play, I don't care about the offensive line.
Yeah, you can't.
I want my third overall pick to elevate people around him.
Yeah, and when you say no matter what, then you're saying even if he's head and shoulders better than Brissett, and I don't agree with. Listen, you can come up with examples of it working every different way, and you can also come up with examples of it not working every single way.
And if he's not ready, I don't want him to play. That's where I agree with Tim. If he's not, if his footwork is still a mess and he hasn't, learned how to read the field and see the field properly, I'm with Tim. I don't want to play him. But I'm assuming that we're having a good training camp, where he shows that he can do those things. And the comparison to Josh Allen is not about level of play; it's style of play. He might never be anywhere near what Josh Allen was 4 years ago, let alone now. He might never get to that level, but stylistically, he plays in a similar style.
Yeah,
he's a bigger quarterback who doesn't necessarily elude you; he runs through you. And he has a big arm. Doesn't have Josh Allen's arm. No one does.
Yeah, he's not quite the freight train that Josh Allen is to me. He's tough and he'll run through guys.
But he plays in that style. That's where the comparison is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say Justin Herbert,
That's
too.
the mix. It's a mix of those guys to me. And it's not either one of them is perfect, but I think there's little elements of both that if you kind of combine, and that's kind of what
I've just want, Tim, I've used that comparison a lot. I would never even dream of putting him on that level of ability. He has never played a game.
Yeah.
So I agree with Tim. Let's not call him Josh Allen. I don't think anyone is. I think they're just kind of comparing the styles.
Yeah, it's just to categorize the guys. It's just leading up into the draft. How else do you get these players to resonate with fans who don't really know as much about it? You have to give a comparison, but you can't read too much into it.
Even I think when we get on the field on OTAs, you'll start to get a little bit of a sense. But one point I wanted to make off that call though was that I'll be very disappointed if this offensive line is a disaster this year. I think that's a huge miss if that ends up happening. I think that they have enough depth there that they should be able to salvage a serviceable offensive line.
And a dedicated coach.
Dedicated coach. Guy knows what he's doing. He's been trained for a while under Bill Callahan. So, kind of like Elliott Wolf. Some of these guys have been apprentices to do what they're doing now. And, if that ends up short-circuiting this season and harming Drake May's development, I think that's something that you really have to look at as a point of criticism where we all knew it. We knew it was a disaster last year. It wasn't addressed. We knew it was we knew that was a big piece that had to be fixed, and you went the wide receiver route. It seemed like even if you traded back in the second round, you wanted to go the wide receiver route. So I do think that that's an area that you have to watch, and that I think they should be okay though, good enough at least to not be like, we can't even put a rookie in because it's just the guys are flying in.
I think that's going to depend on what they do for a system. Evan's been talking about this a lot about protecting the offensive line, and that was one of the things that really stuck out to Mike and I yesterday when we were watching a lot of those things. And how many times Brady was the offensive line? It was amazing. How many times it was absolutely immediate pressure. Didn't matter.
Yeah, because he knew it was coming. He knew where it was coming from.
Yeah.
Now
there's always going to be offensive line complaints.
Yeah, I think that there will be because I don't think they've really done anything to address it.
4.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to have a similarly, in terms of the way they play, it's going to be similar. But I think the offense is going to probably do more because it's going to be so different and to protect that.
Yeah,
and sort of hide that.
Yeah.
But will the communication be better on the offensive line?
I mean, those things need to be.
But that can help. It would have helped even last year with those guys. Better communication even would have helped them.
Yeah. I mean, I think even just in a heavy wide zone system where you want to. I mean, Drake's athletic. I mean, Jacoby's pretty athletic too. I mean, you're going to be running bootlegs with them. Stuff like that off of play action. So, I do think that there's some stuff baked into this offense that, can just help. It's not going to just be a spread attack where make sure we have the protection right. Let's, not have any, free runners, which is what you've seen a lot the last couple of years is those guys where it's like, well, that play had no chance because they didn't have it protected right.
And if a good defensive coordinator can create that anyway, that's where the quarterback comes in.
Right.
What do I do when it's a red alert?
Yeah, and that feeds into the question of, and to Tim's point about, I don't think you need to feel that a quarterback is ready to read the full field before you can put him in. I do think there's ways that you can manage young quarterbacks, but how much are they going to put on Drake May? We again go back to the Brady thing. I mean, everything was on him. He could, and I think that was one of the big criticisms of, the system that they kept going after Josh with Mac, that you put so much on the quarterback that if he misses one thing, he's dead. So now, I know there's, David Andrews has been saying he's going to start calling the protections and stuff. So I do think that there's some mechanical shifting going on within this new system that I hope will help keep them all on the same page.
Our first feedback on the Brady tickets. Carlos writes in, love the show. Just wanted to give an update on the Hall of Fame ceremony. Tickets are sold out, and the cheapest verified resale ticket was around $275.
Wow.
Yeah. Also wanted to ask what your guys' opinion was regarding the do your job signs being removed from the facility. I personally feel like it makes sense considering it was the previous coach's mantra. Interested to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, you've got to put your own stamp on the team. You've got to put your own pictures up. You want to, that's probably one of the fun parts of things that I like about coaching is you have to have your own philosophy. And, those things are so attached to Bill. And, I mean, the general sentiments kind of remains with what you see, like we, not me. I saw some of the signs that, supposedly that they had up. But, that's what each coach has in their discretion, how they want to, what messages they want to boil down and really want the team to focus on.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. It's become a narrative kind of because it's like, has football been renovated in like 20 years? Like they probably needed a refresh.
They just did the whole thing over.
They just
Really?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like before, what was that? It's inside of 10 years anyway.
Well, yeah, when they they redid a lot down there. Yep.
They did the whole
And
thing
now,
over.
but now they redid
it again.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I know.
okay.
But I'm saying when we moved over to the other side of the building, that football all changed. That's not that long.
No, when we first moved, Bill's office was right up front.
Right.
And he had a window looking out. And then when they redid it, they moved his into more the interior.
He didn't want the window anymore.
He didn't want a window anymore.
Regardless,
Yeah.
like if you bought a
too much
house,
sun.
if you bought a house and the previous owners were like driving by to see like what you were doing, be like, don't take the floors out.
Yeah,
like we
right.
worked hard on this, or
Right,
like,
right.
oh, you can't take the cabinets or redo the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like
For me,
I put
it's,
those in.
it's less about the snappy little sayings because I'm not a big
Little
fan
slogans?
of them. Yeah. I think I totally agree with Alex on that. Like, take all of that out and put yours in. It's like to continue Alex's home analogy. Like, no. You have to have the pictures of my family up there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm going to put what I want. Yeah. What I'm a little bit curious about is, and I read this. This was Cameron Wolf's piece on NFL.com, who was here for the draft.
Yep.
So he had sort of evidently a little bit of a
Like
tour and
yeah.
info session about all the things. I'm a little surprised they took away as many of the pictures of past success. I would think that's something that you'd want to embrace.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they decided to take all that away. But do your job, and now it's
Ignore the noise.
we not me.
Yeah.
I have no problem with any of that.
Yeah.
Like
No,
Gerard
it's-
should have what he feels is an important messaging on the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with
It's
that.
his team now.
Yeah.
I'm with Alex on
Especially with the big criticism of, former Patriots assistants trying to be Bill. Like, you can't, always just keep and do your job. That's Bill's thing. Like, he needs to
that. I did like the camera, and this is just the one little critique I would say. And this was nothing to do with what the Patriots have done. This was the way it was written in the piece. It was like they did have a picture of Belichick with other past coaches. Oh, well, that's nice.
It's like him and Mike
okay.
Holovac.
Yeah, Rod Rust, Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells. I just thought that was kind of odd that they had, that's what they banished him to, with all the rest of the, the memorable coaches and scouts. I thought that was a little strange.
Well, you can bet on that. And if you're in the game or betting on the game,
What a
you'll need a
transition.
game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. So,
Hope is on the way.
that is difficult to read. But
Let's hope not on
you know
the
what's
way.
not difficult?
Bud Light.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. So I got to work that right in there.
Flawless. I didn't even realize you were doing an ad read.
Just work it right
Very
in.
easy to drink.
Yeah.
So organic.
It's like you guys ordering pizza time.
Yeah.
You can bet on that.
Uh,
Speaking of betting,
Yeah. Sam's in Connecticut. What's up, Sam? Sam.
Sam.
Hey.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
yes.
So I just had a question about something I haven't really seen discussed on the show so far. Looking at Pat's cap, the Patriots have around $50 million in cap space. Do you expect them to spend that this season, or do you expect them to roll it over? And if you do think they're going to spend it, what position/players do you think they may potentially use it on?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do expect them to spend, if not all of it, most of it.
I don't.
I just don't see where they can right now. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
Like
where are you
who's
going
gonna
to
get
spend
it?
$50 million in cap space?
I mean, I could see Matthew Judon getting a little sweetener, but that's
Yeah,
not
that could give you
$40
some.
million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, they definitely need $5-10 million to sign all the draft picks and everything. So
Oh, I thought that was counting that.
is that?
I thought that number took into account the draft.
Yeah,
price.
that's what I mean.
You
like
also
somewhere
need
in the neighborhood
no.
of
So
30
they have
to 40.
50. They have $50 million. Counting the
after.
draft. I mean, that's usually the way Miguel does it.
Yeah. Okay.
But maybe he didn't. And I would say you definitely need some money for IR and stuff like in season sort of.
Expensive.
But still,
Expenses
that's still
is
a
the word.
pretty big number to
That's
as
a huge,
we sit
it's a huge
here.
number, but I'm with you. I don't like. There's not a big ticket
Well,
item that you can
talk about your thing. Maybe it's a subtraction that they're saving it for.
a subtraction that they're saving.
I mean, dead money?
Choo-choo.
Yeah, well, that's not going to be
No, but
50 million.
No, but little chunks here and there. You get a little sweetener for
I think
Judon.
You might get another
know.
another extension too. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
Barmore was one. I was surprised there wasn't as much.
Who else?
Well, Ramondre
early.
is out
Ramondre.
there.
Yeah, Ramondre could
That's
get
not a
one,
bad
but
one.
that probably wouldn't eat up too much space.
Yeah.
That narrative's kind of started too. He was
I
talking
know,
about
I
his. I was like, already, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, the media obviously turns to him now.
Yeah, exactly.
You came in at
Next
the same
in line,
time.
next man up.
Right.
What
right.
about you? You going to get yours?
Yeah, you really deserve it, That's how, like, some of them do it.
That's what they do in New York.
Yeah. They go up to the guy and they're like, boy, I can't believe that, you
So
didn't
then
get an extension.
they
So
do that to
meddling.
they do that to one guy in New York. Then they go to the other guy that might play the same position and go, "Do you believe they gave that money to that guy?
Oh my God.
You're better than him."
Yeah. And then before you know it, he's just yep.
Conniving schoolgirls.
And that's
Yeah.
why Parcells calls them commies.
Yeah.
Subvert from within. And Evan Lazar
Evan's back.
Hello.
Hi, Evan.
Hi.
is back.
How's Mike Onwenu?
He's good. Yeah, nothing has changed about Mike Onwenu except a Rolex. He said that he bought with his new
What
contract,
kind
but
did he say?
he didn't say. No, no
You
one.
guys
asked.
going to ask a good question.
Oh,
that
you
was
want-
that an-
sorry, I
Was
didn't
this
get the
a
model number.
Yachtmaster?
or whatever.
Was it?
Was that an electric
Date
bike
just?
that he was riding?
No, I think it was a. I don't think so, but I guess he said that
It's like a trek or something.
the
like a nice
defensive
bike.
players got them last year apparently, and some of the guys left them here. Over just leave them here, and so it wasn't his bike; it was somebody else's bike. Was the story?
All right.
Big stuff.
What was
Big
what was
stuff.
Bentley saying about the kind of culture stuff? I don't know. I just saw him saying stuff about things. It's all across the building now.
Talking
where-
about
Yeah,
the signs.
there's new
The word art. Live, laugh,
slogans and pictures.
Pantry,
and
kitchen.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah. Wine me. Like
Wine o'clock.
wine o'clock.
I can't adult today.
Cameron Wolf
6
from
o'clock somewhere in the world.
from NFL Network, I think, right? NFL
Yes,
Network.
Cameron
Yeah.
Wolf.
My kitchen,
Yes.
my
Yeah.
rules.
He had written a story. Obviously, had some access to Gerard, and he had written a story about some of the new pictures and slogans, and they revamped football. It's not Bills football operations anymore,
Right.
so there's different stuff going on, and so they asked Jawan Bentley about what's your favorite slogan, and his was progress, process, something. Now it's off the top of my head. I cannot remember. What it
Payoff?
is. That's it.
Wow,
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah.
Did you write it?
It's all P's.
I think I read it in that
Process,
story.
progress, payoff.
Yeah.
Is what it is, and he just said that's his favorite out of the few that are floating around. But he did say,
Do we have a slogan coach?
Well-
Someone that comes pumps
well,
these
he
out,
did.
or-
He
The
did
vinyl
say
decals.
that it doesn't really matter. He was like,
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jawan.
yeah, yeah, he was like, if you don't walk the walk, then the slogan really isn't gonna do much for you. But yeah, he opened the press conference with Celtics, ended it with Celtics. So I was happy about that.
Okay.
That's what's really important right now.
Okay.
In May.
Evan, did you have a chance to send your best wishes to Mike Gorman? And if not, why
did.
not?
I
Like
did on
everybody
Twitter.
else did.
Yeah.
I did.
He motivated you to get into the business.
I didn't want to do the job that he does, so I wouldn't say that. But as a green teamer, as somebody that bleeds green, I'm okay with saying that.
Did you cry?
It
I
got a
cried.
little dusty.
You
It
cried?
I
did.
full-fledged
you
cried.
clearly cried.
I have photo evidence because
It did,
I
and
was
I'm
being
not.
made fun of,
and
but I
I'm not
did
just
cry.
saying this because I'm tough. No, I'm not really a crier.
I am a crier. And
and-
that's not something that would
And
make me cry.
when he was getting choked up, you could tell on his final sign off, and it was
Boy, you must have been a puddle when Tom Heinsohn left.
well,
What about Johnny Most? That one hurt you?
way before my time.
Only Drew.
Jack's last game tonight too, right?
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. Jack.
I don't think
So
as
they don't
many
do
people
the
care.
second
about
round?
You think he's feeling like
That's what I didn't get,
What the
Paul. Because
hell?
they said that Game 7 would be on ABC, but I didn't know if there was an
No.
implication that they would lose.
No, there's no. So the local TVs only get first round.
I thought in the NHL they got the second round. But
No,
maybe
not
they changed
anymore.
that.
I think Mike said last night, Gorman said that 08 was the last time that they had
Oh,
the
the
second
NBA,
round.
Back
I
in
know.
the
I
day,
thought the
yeah.
NHL was 2 rounds.
Yeah, and he did some interview. I'm sorry, I don't know if he did a couple. I don't know which one it was from, but he said that he still hasn't forgave the NBA for selling their souls to the big networks and getting the local guys out of the playoffs. That still bugs him to this day. that-
Cowards.
me too,
Yeah.
Mike.
Cowards.
Yeah.
It's funny. I love Mike Gorman. I do. But I can't wait for the playoffs so I don't have to watch the local broadcasts, especially in hockey.
Oh, yeah.
I don't watch anyway.
You don't
Jeez.
watch?
I watch the national.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
tend
what I'm
to-
saying.
It's just better.
Well,
Sometimes
Depends on what your
I just like when
interests
something
are.
happens and I
Yeah.
can actually get
last year
what
national broadcast
might actually have
upset me.
happened.
Yeah.
Like when you watch the Bruins, and I know this is like taboo now because it's so sad that, and I do agree that it's sad that Jack Edwards has to
Just can't
step
do it.
down because he
Yeah.
can't do it anymore. But like I'd like to know what actually happened on a play as
Well-
opposed to the fiction worlds that
I
Jack
mean,
Edwards.
Jack
lives in.
Edwards or Sean McDonough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Jack
Yeah.
Edwards compared the Bruins win to the Revolutionary War, though,
But
like,
that's
that
a
was some
classic.
legendary
That's a
stuff.
classic.
It was so
No,
out of
back in the
pocket.
day, it was different. But he's not,
Give me Turkin.
When I just what I don't like about the national, because I know ESPN just took over and TNT just took over, and as somebody that watches the Bruins every single night, they don't know the team.
Yeah.
Like they really don't. You know, they
Neither does the local.
well, I don't really care about that, but they don't know the team, and that bugs me.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there, watching it, and like they're talking about a guy that isn't even in the lineup that night, or hasn't scored a goal in 10 games, and they're pumping him up or something like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, have you guys actually been watching this team play?
No,
or
I
not?
hear that.
I haven't heard things like that, and I'm with you, Fred. I've watched Sean McDonough. I think they've done a fantastic job with the Toronto series, and they've gotten some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Now, it helps for Sean that he's a Boston guy, so he
Yeah.
probably does have a little bit
Yeah,
more.
I'm not
but
talking as much about the play-by-play guys. I'm talking about the
I think it's
the
been terrific,
color
and I
analysts
like
stuff.
Brickley, but
Yeah.
I just think he gets sucked into the homerism of Jack, and I just
I can't
handle that.
I can't stand Scal.
Now,
I
Scal's awful.
It's awful.
now I have to admit, when I
The
was
kid
younger,
with Scal is pretty good though. I thought he was
yeah, we'll
decent.
see.
The
but
play-by-play guy.
Yeah, the new
the
kid. You don't
Syracuse
like him?
robot. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are mean. I don't think he's that
I
bad.
feel like Scal though. Like last night, he's still complaining about the refs. They're up 30 points.
Yeah. Like,
and
I
he's
just-
still
I
bitching
can't
about how
I
they're not
can't handle that.
in
I
the
just
free throw
can't.
discrepancies like 20-2, as it should have been. Like the Celtics were the more aggressive team, but like Scal's going off about the refs, and I'm just like, dude, they're winning the game by 30 points. Like, this is not the difference.
They lost
like,
6 games all year. Every one of them was because of the refs. That
Yeah.
Drew Carter kid is like, oh man, tough call. I'm like, not every single time they lose, it's because of the refs.
Now, I have to admit, when I was a green teamer back in the 80s, I would listen to Johnny Most.
Yeah.
I mean, for the entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, it was completely
couldn't
biased.
do it.
It was, like, ridiculous at
That's why I
times.
love
but,
Tommy.
But it was just, you had to listen to Johnny
That-
Most.
that-
I feel like Scal is trying to be like Tommy, because
Yep.
Tommy always used to complain about the refs
Oh.
and all that stuff.
Are you kidding? That's
Tommy
a hard
would lose
foul.
his mind.
But
There
it's
was
not the
nothing
same.
better.
Like it's not this. Like when it was coming from Tommy, it was different for some reason. I
The
think.
only thing I would say about Scal and Tommy is Tommy would die. Tommy would go down with the ship. Like, you kidding me? And then they would show the replay, and it'd be like blatant foul, right? And he would just stay with it, like, whatever. Scal sometimes will watch the replay and go,
Walk it back.
Okay, all right, he probably got him on the arm there. That's the only plus I would say for Scal. But I totally agree with you. He's trying to rip off Tommy.
Yeah,
He's got Scal points.
yeah. I don't know.
It's a Scal point.
It's just like
Well, I think
Whatever.
if you did a poll of people who watch the local broadcast, most of the fans want that. They want the homer view.
Yeah.
They don't want objectivity.
Well, they
But
hate when
they
they
want
call
somebody-
Doris a Celtics
they want
hater.
somebody
Okay,
to
well,
say,
don't
there's-
get me started
there's
on
two
Doris
things-
is horrible.
There's 2 things there,
talks
though.
too much.
Ugh.
Like, I want, for my local broadcast, I want homers. I do. I want to listen to my team get excited when my team does well. That doesn't mean that I'm not calling what's going on in the game.
Yeah.
And Mike Gorman was great because he actually told you what was happening in the game. When it was, to me, the heyday was Mike, Tommy, and Bob Cousy. And when Cousy would tell you 5 minutes into the game, Bird and company didn't come to play tonight, this game's going to go down the wire, because they were so good they could turn it on and off in the middle of a game. He'd tell you they didn't come to play tonight. He wouldn't just say the referees have put them in a hole in the first quarter, which is what happens now.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't mind. I want Jack Edwards' enthusiasm, but when the Bruins commit a penalty, I don't want it to be a bad call every time. He called the ref a coward the other night for being the first guy off the ice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. I just.
I didn't appreciate that.
I understand. Like,
It's also his.
I
It's
understand
also
the
his last
excitement.
go, so
No,
he's
I know.
probably just
He's
like
going,
whatever,
"Oh,
man.
whatever."
I
I'm just-
almost feel bad to pile on.
Like,
Oh man.
tell me what's happening in the game. Like, I don't mind that you're rooting for I'm rooting for the team.
Yeah.
Like, I want the Bruins to win, but
Hopefully he gets to call a win, because the way the Bruins looked the other night, they are trying to
like,
blow another 3-1
I'm sorry, you
lead.
get like 3 shots in 40 minutes. It's not the ref's fault that you lost the game.
Right.
I swear to you, if I have to listen to Doris Burke call another Celtics playoff series against the Sixers, I'll turn on the radio.
Well,
I really like Doris Burke.
she's better at play-by-play than color. Like color, she feels obligated to say something after every play, and
The
not
other-
just like
I agree
too
with
long.
I agree with
Yeah.
that criticism. She does talk. a
The
little
other
bit too
day,
much.
I forget which game I was watching. I think it was either a Knicks game or maybe even the Bucks, but JJ Redick was in the booth too.
Oh, wow, is he
And
bad?
Doris made a joke about like, oh, they barely even guarded him. Looks like JJ Redick out there, like as a joke. JJ did not take it as a joke.
He's terrible.
JJ was silent for the next 5 minutes until halftime, and then the other guy in the booth was like trying to get JJ to talk, but it was so awkward.
I will when she
And
apologized.
I
JJ
like
goes,
Doris Burke even better now.
JJ goes, that was a little unnecessary. Right after she said that, it was silent. I was like, oh no, I have secondhand
that's
like
funny. Oh.
awkward.
I can't do Doris. Especially when they play the Sixers. Like if they're playing a different team, it's fine. But she grew up in like South Jersey, and she's
Yeah.
the biggest Joel Embiid fan on the planet.
I've heard that criticism.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
just
from Boston fans.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's who the ones that are watching.
Yeah.
Like,
all of the national meanies are all rooting against your team. You
no,
didn't
it's
get
not
that?
about rooting against them. I just don't need to hear about how great
But-
Joel Embiid is
he's
as
great.
he's
But to-
cowering in the.
To bring
frickin'
it back to the
game again.
Patriots, during the game when we're covering the Patriots, I listen to the broadcast whenever I can, and I'm doing the blog and I hear people, and it's amazing how right off the bat Jim Nantz hates the Patriots.
Oh, every-
Mike Tirico hates the
every
Patriots.
single-
and
every
I'm
pair.
listening and I'm like, I'm not getting that. Like, they're doing an okay job. They're not favoring, and I would say more so, especially in the early 2000s. If you were the fan of another team, you would say Jim Nantz. All he talks about is the Patriots.
I would definitely say, especially like the color guys, who loved Bill.
Right.
Like it was completely apparent that these guys
Phil
are
Simms.
like bowing at the altar of it. Rightly so. The guy won 6 titles. I understand why they had such reverence for him, but I don't know how you could come out of any of those national broadcasts and think people were rooting against Bill.
Phil Simms hates the Patriots. It's like I don't know.
Normally, I try not to do that, and it does bug me. But it's clear as like day with Doris with the Sixers. Like, I mean, every single time the Celtics play the Sixers in the playoffs.
I'll have to listen. I mean, they're probably not going to play the Sixers, though.
No, probably not. We're lucky. We're save ourselves from that.
Yeah.
All that to say, we've had some like legendary, like Jerry Remy and Don Orsillo, Mike and Tommy, Gil Santos, like legends.
Did you hear
we
it,
had
though?
it so good.
Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy.
We got to let it go with Don Orsillo. He's not
what
walking
was the
through that
better-
door.
What was the much better pair, Fred?
The guy before.
Sean McDonough and Jerry
Okay.
Remy.
Yeah.
But
It's before our time.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
just,
was a
it's,
kid
no,
with
it's,
Jerry
it's
and
all about
Don cracking
the
up in the
eras.
booth in
No,
a blowout.
they were
just-
great.
Like
They
Fred,
were
that was
so
do you
fun.
remember Fred
that was
Cusick?
invented by
Fred
Sean.
Cusick
Matter of fact,
no, he never.
John Pearson.
No.
Well, that's going
That
Johnny
was-
back.
that was really good.
The only, and I
Derek
don't want to
Sanderson?
speak for you, Alex, but I'm sure we're probably in the similar boat.
She's a lot younger than you. Don't kid yourself.
Don Orsillo with the Red Sox, obviously Mike Gorman with the Celtics, and Jack Edwards with the Bruins. Like those were the three people. That's what I mean. Jack Edwards been doing it for 19 years. I'm only 30, so like
Alex, Sean got a little bitter after he left.
Yeah.
And he actually complained. He goes, Orsillo stole my act. And he totally did. He sounded just like Sean.
Who had better
He joked,
chemistry
He
with
joked with
Jerry.
Remy. I think they were both
Yeah.
excellent. I think they were both excellent. I like Don Orsillo a lot. Now, to Fred's point, not to the point where I'm going to wage a Twitter campaign to try to like
When
free
I was
him
working
from
for
the
Nesson-
prisoner of war camp that
when
he
I was
evidently is
working
in.
for Nesson, mind you, this was years after Don had gone to San Diego, I would write a Celtics article or like a Bruins article, and the comments would still be like, "You guys got rid of Don.
Bring back
F you,
Orsillo,
bring
yeah.
back," and I'm like,
It was unreal.
Yeah.
Good local announcer talk right there.
We didn't even mention Zoe, my
But-
my namesake or my likeness.
I am.
Well, they
I
don't
am
get
with
to
you
do
on
TV
the
during
Bruins.
the
yeah,
season.
it's the national.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always a national crew for
Fred,
football. So
Fred
it's different.
Cusick was a pretty good play-by-play guy. In his
Oh,
day.
yeah.
He had odd.
I
kinda
had nothing to
sayings.
compare it to. I was a kid.
Derek Sanderson.
Turk.
Keys to the game.
Oh, yeah.
Skate, skate, skate.
I went to school with Derek Sanderson's son.
But we're forgetting
Yeah.
the best color guy for the Red Sox. Eck.
Eck was
Oh,
Eck was really
10 out
good.
of
He was the best.
Yeah.
the
he was
best experience I ever had in my career was being a little Nesson intern and getting to watch games with Eck. And like, as funny as he was calling the games, the
Yeah.
stuff he said in the room, like, oh, I
can
could write a
imagine.
book. Oh my God, I love that man.
Fred,
mean,
why
He's
did you
so
like
funny.
Eck so much?
Just this little quirk, oh, look at that cheese, and oh, that one had hair on it, or the time that he would swear on air
Yeah.
and then have to come
The
back
best
after the break
example-
and apologize.
For me, when
The best-
David Price
yes.
is taking 4 minutes
Yes.
between pitches, he's telling you this guy's a clown.
The
Right.
best
That's
example,
why he was the best to me.
best example of how beloved Eck was when David Price and Eck had that little altercation on the plane.
Yeah.
And instead of all of the fans standing by their star Cy Young pitcher,
stood by
they
Eck.
said, "Hell no, Eck's our guy." And
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Well,
the
to,
man.
David
to
Price
be
was
fair,
a
David
maniac.
Price was
Yeah.
kind of terrible.
He was
so.
a baby,
He was
yes,
hard to
but
stick
But
up for.
he has the cards now or whatever, as they won in.
All right, let's get back to the phones.
holding
People
the
are like,
cards. Yeah.
what are they talking about? Well, this is our show.
Well,
we can talk about
little
whatever
inside
we want.
Play-by-play.
baseball, to be
We
honest.
we
That's
did a
all
lot
right.
of news. We went over a lot of news.
All
to
right, let's
start.
go back to the Ace Ticket Hotline, 855-PASS-500. Landon is in Virginia. What's up, Landon?
London.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good. So, first time caller. I never thought I'd have to call in until I heard Fred call Paul a baby on live radio. I had to come to Paul's defense and talk about how I agree with him on how drafting Joe Milton could affect our third overall pick development QB. I'm 22 years old. This is the first time a quarterback has ever been younger than me, and to throw him into a position like that is kind of crazy when you're dealing with, I love Patriots, I love our fan base, but we're not very forgiving. And so I want to put our quarterback in the best position possible. I had to come to Paul's defense. But I also had a question for you guys. At what point do you guys think we can evaluate Gerard Elliott's draft class? Do we have to wait a year, 2 years, 5 years? When are we going to be able to look back and say, how was their first draft as a GM and head coach?
Yeah.
Well,
Good question.
I mean,
Thanks, Landon.
I mean, training camp. I mean, that's not the final evaluation, but I think right away you're going to know if these guys can play. The receivers, and you're going to get a sense of Drake May right away. You're going to get a sense of where these offensive linemen are in the depth chart. How much is Caden Wall? Is he at left tackle as the starter? I mean, you can't make a final definitive judgment until a couple of years. But
staggered evaluations.
Yeah, there's different places, and each of them have their own criteria. Yeah. But like you said, you can't make the final call, the definitive call, until like 2 years.
Yeah, like if you had made the call about Mac after his first season compared to his second, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people did, and they were wrong.
Everybody did.
Right.
Exactly.
If you want like the final pictures, I'm with Deuce. I think that one of the biggest
player has to retire.
Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is like, oh, you have to wait 3 years.
Can't even
like,
say
no,
anything.
when we get out there in training camp, especially for the skill player guys like Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, we're gonna know if those guys have got the juice or not. Like pretty much right away. When Javon Baker lines up against Christian Gonzalez, can he get away from him or not? Like we're gonna be able to see that.
No, I agree
off
with
the
that
jump.
to an extent, but I would say, just as a point of recent comparison, during training camp rookie year of Tyquan Thornton, I would have told you this guy has some of that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty good in his first camp.
Then he got
never
hurt.
did I think he was pretty good when the game started.
Yeah. No, I think you need 2 years because of the Mac thing. Like you need to see how when the league reacts and the league adjusts, is he still going to be good post adjustment? And that usually takes at least a full year to be able to see that.
At least 1 full year, but probably 2. And like to Mike's point, I think there's a chance you might see Caden Wallace at left tackle. Or even right tackle.
Yeah.
I brought that up before, like, when you were still doing the interviews. Like if you see, would it be stunning to see both Wallace and Okorafor at left and Wallace at right? I don't.
No, that's
I
what
mean, I'm not
that's what I read
expecting
today.
that, but I mean, I wouldn't be stunned to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't mean
to
me that doesn't make it. It doesn't make it a good draft.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it means that he's better than Calvin Anderson and Connor McDermott, who they cut.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, it's directly related to like what they need. It's like if they have in the key spots, like if the guard Robinson doesn't work out, it's not that big a deal. But Wallace, the receivers. I mean, I'm thinking back to seeing N'Keal Harry in training camp, seeing Cole Strange in one-on-ones in training camp as a rookie, and you got bad juju vibes out of those. It's a juju, not juju.
No pun intended.
But you got bad vibes kind of out of the gate of like, can this guy play? Because he I mean, N'Keal Harry looked great from like the point he walked to the top of the stairs to the sideline, and then as soon as practice started, right?
I was like this close to calling N'Keal Harry a bust in OTAs.
Yeah.
Before his rookie training camp, and
That's
Fred,
crazy.
Was like, well, let's wait, because Fred wasn't overly impressed either. But like, he's a rookie first-round pick. You want to give him a chance.
Yeah.
Like, you want to give him a chance. But, kind of back full circle to our announcer category, if you're telling everybody that everybody's great, and then they actually see them play and they're not great, then what does that make you?
Anybody have an example of someone who we thought was a bust, but then ended up not being?
Huh. That's a good question, because I have a million the other way.
Yeah, a million the other way. But someone, this guy can't play. And then all of a sudden he surprised everybody.
I'm struggling to
I'm trying to
So
think.
the closest I can come, and I wouldn't say bust because he was like a third-round pick, but like Anthony Jennings, I thought was on the way out of town.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't get on the field. When he did get on the field, he didn't do anything.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, he got his first real extended opportunity last year, and I thought he played really well.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late bloomers like that.
Yeah, late bloomers. Yeah.
I'll still think about that, but just one other point I want to make was like with Onwenu. Like you kind of knew right out of the gate, this guy's involved. Like they're getting him at right guard, they're getting him at right tackle. Like he's in there a lot. Like you could just see.
Right out of the gate, this guy's going to play.
Yes.
You don't know out of the gate, is he going to play well?
Right. And then that's all you can tell.
That's my thing, and I say this to Fred all the time. They always tell you when it doesn't look good for a guy. You can't, to Evan's point, you can't evaluate. You need 3 years. You can't evaluate these guys. But God help us if a guy looks good on September 7th. Nailed it. What a draft pick. Like, nothing can change.
Yeah.
Nothing can change. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of guys that look good out of the gate. Chad Jackson looked unbelievable out of the gate.
Yeah.
Never did really anything for the Patriots.
I think, too, it's like situational because you know the positions of need. And, when you just see the coaches are giving a guy a chance, like it's hard to know, are they putting him in there to see how he plays with around the other ones? We're not sure if this guy is really talented. Let's put him with the ones and see how he kind of looks out. Is he moving, at the same speed as those guys? Or, is this somebody that we really see potential in and we think he's going to play a role this year?
Malcolm Butler.
I was just going to say.
Malcolm Butler was one of those guys that right away in OTAs you saw him like with regular players. Yeah. And you're like, they have some confidence in this guy.
Yep. Hey, joining us right now on the WebEx Cisco line is Mike Reese from ESPN. Hey, Mike.
What's up, Fred? Hey, Paul. What's up, Deuce? Evan, what's going on
today?
Got
cubicles
Are you in the building?
Mike, I swear I haven't seen you in forever.
Oh, you're so right here. I wanted the Field Yates had a nice bookcase behind him.
He's
rich mahogany.
That's the inside of Gillette Stadium,
I know,
right?
He's in the media workroom.
Mike, I know we've got you on a laptop, and what you see is not what everybody else is seeing. So just so you know that. But we've got Deuce here, we've got Alex, we've got Evan, Paul, myself. So thanks for joining us. What's up? How you doing? How's your off season been so far?
Everything is great, Alex. I'm so happy you're in there. I didn't see you when I was looking at the screen, so
hiding
I
behind
apologize
Deuce's
for
head.
that.
It's okay.
Awesome.
Nice. That was a good shot by Alex on me.
It's like Sputnik.
Yeah. Everything is great, Fred. It's been a great off season, and I want to tell you, yesterday was a great day, and just seeing Alex made me think of it. I was down in Providence with 6 players, and it was really a very meaningful thing. I know we're going to talk a lot about the football, but I went down there because the team had they were working with this foster forward or not nonprofit organization that set up 3 apartment units for 3 youth that are aging out of foster care. And Fred, it was like an amazing building that they put together. And with the Patriots being down there, it brought a lot of media, and I was just sort of uplifted by being there. It was really cool to see.
That's cool. And Mike, you've always been really good at covering those events. One, because they're nice events and, like you said, uplifting. But you're also smart because those are times where you get to know the players a little bit differently.
Freddie, so Jacoby, I hadn't seen him since he got traded in 2017. And he looked at me and he goes, "You look the same." And I said, "Jacoby, that's like the biggest compliment you can give me right now. Like, because I don't feel the same. I feel old. I'm tired."
Mike,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, Mike, you were here, you've been covering this team since the late 90s. I know you got your start with Fred, but so much has changed this year. And just what has it been like from your perspective, the shift from kind of how things had been now to Gerard and the energy around the team, just from your perspective, talking to the fans? I mean, you're so plugged in. What's that experience been like from you as the whole culture's kind of shifted here in Foxborough?
So just starting with Fred, because I was reflecting on that recently. 1997, first ever game, Deuce, preseason, Lambeau Field.
Oh my gosh!
Like think about that. Oh, it's your first job out of college. And just go cover a preseason game at Lambeau Field. And Fred said to me, Fred, I don't know if you remember this, you had your little camera with you. He goes, "Get down on one knee, Mike, and just say something about the game."
I remember the old post-game shows. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best. So I was reflecting on that. And I think in a lot of ways, Mike, like I'm trying to just keep an open mind this off season because you get used to something for 24 years and it's, sometimes you get thinking like that's the only way to do something, and it was so successful that it's like it's normal to think that way. So as I'm older now, Mike, so like I'm trying to keep an open mind to say, okay, don't judge what's happening as much as just let it unfold and report on what's happening, if that makes sense. It feels more open. It feels a little, I don't want to use the word looser, but just like a little bit of like everyone took an exhale and it's sort of like, okay, let's move this forward and try something a little different.
Okay. Mike, we can read what you had to say about the draft on ESPN, so I don't want to really get into, like, how do you think this guy is going to do, and so on. But in terms of one of the conversations that's going on now is, do you play Drake May right away? Or, no matter what, do you have him sit, at least for some of the season? Are you in a camp or on that take?
I'm in a total camp of let it play itself out, Fred. Like, I don't understand why anyone would have to be like, he has to play. And actually, someone at ESPN texted me that today. He's the number 3 pick. He has to play. And I said, I guess I'm in the other camp of we will know based on what we see.
Yeah.
And by setting like a declarative, like, it has to be this, I don't understand that.
Yeah,
like,
but there's also the camp that says he has to sit. And I don't agree with that either. Yeah.
Me neither,
right.
Fred. So, but so here's my question to all of you. Like, why? Like, why? Yeah. I understand we have debate and we have to fill, like, airtime, but why do we have to, like, say that it has to happen? Why can't we let it play itself out and whatever happens on the field dictates the decision? Like, I guess I don't understand.
Yeah.
Someone enlighten me.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, because if you go back to 2021, I don't think anybody was spending this spring saying Mac Jones has to play. He has to be the starter. You couldn't have had much worse quarterback play the year before with Cam Newton. So I don't remember everybody just saying definitively,
yeah, but I think
the 15th overall pick has to play, but the 3rd overall pick has to play. Like, to Mike's point, let the process play out. He and I are usually lockstep. I don't know if you know, it's the best part of the award-winning show.
And here's the thing.
That's what you tell me.
And here's the thing. With Mac, had he sat, do you think it would have made a difference? Like, if he had sat behind Cam Newton for half the season or even a season, do you think it would have helped Mac Jones?
No, I don't.
Fred, I personally thought, like, at that point, like, it was so clear to everyone that was at practice that he gave him the best chance to win. So I think it would have hurt the team if he sat.
Definitely would have hurt the team, yeah.
Mike, explain your reasoning on that, because this is something we did talk about on the show, about how the sort of the message that gets sent.
So to me, Paul, like, if you're sending a message that it's all about competition and the best players will play, and it was so, remember when Mac had that practice against the Giants?
Yep.
It was so obvious at that point that the offense was running a certain way with Mac that it wasn't with Cam, that I felt like Coach Belichick owed it to the team to play Mac. Because if he didn't, what message was he sending to the players? We're going to play a quarterback that doesn't give us the best chance to win, but it's, we're going to focus here on the development of one player over what gives the team the best chance to win. It's a balance, obviously, but if it's that decisive, I think you just let that decision play itself out by what happens on the field. And if it's like this, so how about this? With Jacoby and Drake, if it's close, Jacoby, right? That can't hurt. Drake will probably have to be that much better than Jacoby to get the nod, just because it makes sense to play it a little safe.
Yeah.
Does that make that's sort of my view.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go run down the draft, but other than Drake, who was your favorite pick for the Patriots, or who's the guy that you're most intrigued about seeing?
So I went with the last one, Fred. Bell, the tight end, Jaheim Bell. Did I say it right, Evan?
You did. Yeah, good pull. That's
Evan
a good answer.
All right, and here's why. So I have to be honest. I don't study the players as close as Evan does, so I have to stay within what I feel most comfortable in my wheelhouse. And I look at opportunity based on the roster. Yeah. So Hunter Henry, we know he's going to be there at tight end. Austin Hooper, pretty good bet he's going to be there behind him at tight end. So I look at, like, there's a spot behind those two if Bell can do sort of what he did last season, catch and run, short and intermediate routes. And so I like the opportunity in this, for him there. And I think he's sort of a different maybe type of tight end, sort of not necessarily an inline guy, and maybe fits well with what Alex Van Pelt and the Browns have done with their tight ends.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he has the most explosiveness out of the group. Definitely on. I mean, Hunter Henry is Mr. Reliable and Mr. Steady, but there's no doubt that Jaheim Bell is the best athlete in that room right now. Mike, I wanted to ask you about Elliot Wolf's future and just your read on, are they going to interview people to maybe be an official general manager or above him even on the totem pole? And do you think that there's a chance that he's given the title after this offseason?
So my read is that, and I don't know this for sure, Evan, but I assume he's just going to continue in his role. And if this was sort of like a trial run for Robert Kraft to feel comfortable with it, I think he did a good job, and he continues to do a good job in terms of these re-signings that we're seeing. So if there are interviews, to me, it would be to complement Elliot Wolf, Matt Groh, Alonzo Highsmith, Patrick Stewart. I don't want to leave anyone out, but you get my point. I believe that the structure they have will stay in place, but Evan, I don't think it'll be like a general manager title, unless I'm way off on that. It would be maybe like a vice president of player personnel, which is, if I recall, what it was with Bobby Greer back in the late 90s when Pete Carroll was coach, what Scott Pioli was,
yeah,
what Nick Casario was. And check me, all of you, if I'm wrong on that. But
no, there's no one. I mean, we know Bill was, but there was no one since I've been here that has had the title of general manager.
Yeah, I would argue that title is higher than a general manager. But I wanted to ask you something that we were talking about earlier in the show, Mike, about the cap space. The Patriots, I think Miguel has it at around $50 million of cap space. Do you anticipate the Patriots using much of that? I mean, obviously there'll be expenses that are incurred to take up some of that. But in other words, is there another maybe big money extension that's possible between now and training camp, or
trade and re-signing or something? Yeah.
I like the thought. We talked to Ramondre Stevenson 2 days ago, and he talked about it. I know running backs aren't like necessarily the biggest ticket items. He would be one that comes to mind that could use some of that space. But Paul, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that would use a significant chunk, as much as just like good to have the flexibility, right? Like if an opportunity presents itself in a trade, that you have the flexibility to do that. I'm curious with all of you, like, are you thinking of something, or am I missing something with another player on the roster?
No, we kind of batted it around, and I don't think any of us really envisions a big ticket item coming available. Yeah. Now, the obvious one as a possibility would be one of the veteran wide receivers. Yes. A T. Higgins or a Brandon Ayuk, and then you acquire them and give them a big contract. But I don't really think any of us envisions that.
I can't think of anything, but I think an opportunity will present itself, and I think they will. If they have a chance, they'll take. They'll do it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's there's still some veteran defensive players in free agency that didn't sign before the draft. Stephon Gilmore is obviously the biggest name. I think Justin Simmons is still out there too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But Mike, do you have any indication at all if Gilmore would be open to a reunion with the Patriots? And I don't know if you know about his relationship with Gerard at all.
Yeah. So not too much, Evan. And I think I'm thinking about the position off the top of my head. I mean, they possibly could use a little help there. My gut, Evan, tells me that they'd like to see the young kids first before. And so I think timing-wise, I wouldn't sense like anything like right now. But Stephon, I don't think like this would be like a door closed type thing. But he's a very shrewd, in my opinion, businessman. Yeah. So I don't think it would be like, I want to come back on a short money deal. Like, I think he's going to be out there looking for a significant deal. And if ultimately the Patriots, like let's be honest, like Christian Gonzalez, incredibly promising, but I mean, he did get hurt in the fourth game of his career.
You
like,
need the depth.
Mike,
right? I just got a text from PR. You're wanted elsewhere. You have something coming up in a couple minutes.
I think the room. They need the room, Mike.
So I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate you coming on, and always a pleasure to talk to Mike Reese.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
So I always tell you my favorite Mike Reese story is the day that because I was hired to replace Mike Reese here.
Good job.
And, Fred, the Kingmaker. Pete Carroll was the coach at the time, and Brian Morey introduced me to Pete. And he said he's replacing Mike. And he goes, whoa, big shoes to fill. And then he goes, well, actually, little shoes to fill. but welcome.
But that's Mike Reese 2 years out of college. Like that's his. He established that relationship
Pete
with Pete Carroll
recognized his professionalism even at that
in 2
stage.
years.
That's why I tell the story, not to take a crack at Mike being small.
Yeah.
But more so that the respect the head coach had.
Already.
I'm pretty sure.
He's probably like 24 years old or something.
I'm pretty sure when Andy Hart left in 2020, they didn't go to Mike Dussault and say, "Oh, Bill Belichick, Mike."
That's a
Mike,
big visor to fill.
That's a big visor to fill.
Andy would be like, "Oh, that hurts."
Well,
that
I know.
stinks.
But after
While
Alex's
I'm excited
comment on
about
my
my
head
future
size,
at
I
Titan
feel like maybe I could fill it.
It wasn't your head size. It was the angle.
Paul's
Aw.
Foods here. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more calls and emails here on Patriots Unfiltered. If you want to see Toyota's best offers and have a first look at that, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go to the DraftKings commercial. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
And we are back with another edition of the PU Halftime Show. T. Bauman here, Chris Cassidy.
How we doing?
As always, we're going to start off with some trivia. I got some good stuff today. Chris, don't answer it, all right?
I might.
All right. Question 1. When was the last time the Patriots wore their silver alternate jersey? All right? Give me the week, the year, and the opponent.
The week?
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Yeah, week, the year, opponent. All right. Question 2. Who caught Vinny Testaverde's only career touchdown pass as a New England Patriot? Probably don't even know who that is, Chris.
No, I do. I know Vinny Testaverde.
And question number 3. How many rushing yards did Fred Taylor have as a New England Patriot? All right. You probably don't even know who that is either.
Fred Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Wasn't he a Bills guy?
All right. Anyways.
Fred
Let's get
Taylor
into
was
it.
a
Let's
Bills
get into it. Jack's guy and Bill's guy. All right.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So Chris, it's been a while since we've done some of these.
Yeah.
Because it's been kind of busy here.
A little bit.
Yeah. We had the draft.
We did?
We did, yeah. Solid class. The first of the Mayo Elliott Wolf era. Yeah. But no, we're gonna do a little breakdown on our end, what we think of the draft, what we think of the picks. And so, Chris, what do you think? Just like quick grade. Overall grade.
Quick grade?
Yeah.
Before I give the grade, I'm gonna say I think they hit all the pieces that they needed.
Okay.
Were they the right pieces? We don't know yet for sure. But overall, I would give them around a B+, A-.
Yeah, I was going B+. Listen, I think the May pick was needed. It was the right pick, and the way the board played out, I think they're very smart. They didn't trade that pick. I mean, you were on the draft countdown. We were talking about potentially, getting a haul from the Vikings and trading back. But I mean, look what happened to the Raiders. Like Penix went super early. He wasn't going to be there in the second round.
I mean, that Penix pick is still
nuts. We could go into a whole thing about that too.
Yeah.
But listen, I personally a little not disappointed because the pick needed to be done. The Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson pick, they needed to be done. I just think there were some really good players on the board that you missed. That we took the tackle, but you had Roman Wilson there. You had the other tackle from Pittsburgh, Addison Isaac, the defensive end. And, I just feel like Evan mentioned it. There was a top-tier line of tackles, and I think we missed out on a couple.
Yeah.
So I hope Wallace works out. And then also with Polk, listen, he's very good. And it's tough because, you had all the shiny toys there, A.D. Mitchell, Roman Wilson, as mentioned earlier. Yeah. And I guess Polk was high on a lot of people's boards. The Baker. The Baker pick made the Polk pick feel better to me.
I agree. I think I was just about to piggyback off of the Polk comment that you just made, but I think that Javon Baker pick by the Pats in the 4th round, by the way, their second 4th round pick, which was even better, it really piggybacked. I mean, I already used that term, piggyback off you, but it was a huge ad with the Jalen Polk pick, just because kind of counter one another, and also, I mean, whoever's playing quarterback this upcoming season, they have weapons around them. And they haven't really had that deep ball threat. Both of these guys are deep ball threats. Jalen Polk especially. I mean, one of the better contested catch players in college football last year. So both of these additions were huge for the team.
Yeah.
And again, I think that Javon Baker pick was high on everybody's boards here in New England. And
I mean, Evan got up and showed some emotion.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't seen a reaction like that before, and it was pretty funny.
And so
Evan was pumped.
It also shows that they were, it's been a while since we've had a true receiver here. I mean, they reportedly tried to make a move for Xavier Legette and Keon Coleman, who I know Evan wasn't high on Keon Coleman. But I've already come to terms that since he's not here, he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
100%.
That's just how it works.
But you were saying forever that you thought Keon was going to be a bust.
Evan talked in my ear. He got in my ear, and I hope he is.
I've been pretty high on Keon for the most part, but he scares me a little bit in the sense that he's very N'Keal Harry-esque.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's serviceable. But when he enters the league, you don't know how he's going to fully adjust. The Bills kind of made a move for him, essentially.
It's funny because we talked about all these receivers, and I honestly don't think we mentioned Polk. I mean, Evan and Deuce wrote about him, but in the Draft Countdown podcast, we didn't really talk about him.
Yeah.
And then you look at his tape, and he's solid. He's just overshadowed by Roma Dunze, who's a beast.
Yeah, I think Evan had him in his. I think it was his 12th spot.
Yeah,
was his 12th receiver in the draft, and kind of in that second tier of guys, aside from the Harrisons, Neighbors, and Brian Thomas's and everybody else up there. But he was in that second tier, and I mean, to Evan's credit, he wasn't 100% on it, but he was kind of there with what he was writing, and I mean, our guys, they really did a pretty good job of keeping track of the guys that the Patriots were interested in this year.
So another guy I want to talk about, and it would have been a luxury pick, Ja'Tavion Sanders. I think that was a potential miss.
Yeah,
I mean, he just kept dropping just the way the board was playing out. I mean, he actually was taking 2 picks before Layden Robinson.
Right.
And then, we got a tight end in the 7th, but Ja'Tavion Sanders is a beast. So.
There were 2 tight ends that I personally felt the Patriots could take that weren't going to be in that first tier of tight ends. And it was Ja'Tavion Sanders and Jaheim Bell. I thought Jaheim Bell had a really good career at South Carolina before coming over to Florida State. By the way, Marcellus Dial and Jaheim Bell teammates back in South Carolina in 2022. But when Jaheim Bell made the switch to Florida State, I mean, really, he became that number 1 tight end on a college football team, and that was a big thing for him. And he flourished at Florida State. He was great. So, he's really a bigger guy. He can get targets, and he's also a pretty good run blocker. So, thought overall a really solid pick for the Patriots, something that they needed. And between those 2 guys, he was one of the 2 that I felt they could take, and they got him.
So let's go into one more thing, and it was a big thing on Unfiltered. Joe Milton. Oh. What are your thoughts? Listen, we got into
content machine.
He's
Milton.
A beast. Yeah. I think he's a great player, or a great athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a great quarterback. And I'm not in on Zappy. Nice kid, I'm sure, but
he's great. I love Bailey Zappi.
I'm more at the Evan and Paul thing.
Yeah,
the Evan and Paul thing, which is he's gonna look great in t-shirts and a short. He's gonna throw a bomb to Baker this summer. And, Drake May might have some growing pains and stuff like that. And then you got the 24-year-old freak athlete who's going to throw a deep ball and then do a backflip.
That's so. What's interesting about Joe Milton, and again, we already mentioned Bailey Zappi. It's kind of tough. He was released last season, and he, after being released last season, was picked back up by the Patriots. But Joe Milton, he's somebody that, has similar issues to Drake. Kind of pocket mobility is not quite there.
Yep.
But I mean, he has ability to be interesting quarterback backup possibly in this NFL. So
I'm Milton over Zappi for backup. I
Oh,
just don't know if
absolutely.
he's
I
going to be
think-
content with it because what kind of athlete doesn't want to go for the starting job?
you're 3 quarterbacks. Milton, May, and Brissett this season, I think.
No love for O'Rourke.
We share a birthday.
There you go. All right, Chris, thanks for joining. As always, guys, send your answers to webradiopatriots.com, and let's get back to the show.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
What's the top golf situation?
Tuesday night, 5.
You going to play Top Golf?
We're
We
gonna
got a
go with
thing.
Hardy.
We got a
Hey,
thing.
thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's actually for Mike's brother-in-law.
It's for my brother-in-law who
okay.
wanted nothing more in
Oh,
life.
well, yeah, Pisha, he's out now.
He wanted nothing
got him
more
a
in
cameo.
Life. Yeah, he wanted nothing more than a cameo from Hardy for our
Did you show
family
Alex?
Secret Santa. I don't know.
I didn't see the video, but he told me the story.
Oh, and I have a video of my brother-in-law opening. So Hardy was like, "Well, why don't we just go to Top Golf?" My brother-in-law golfs, and so I had the video, of course, of Hardy. But then I took a video of my brother-in-law opening it, and like you've never seen anyone more excited. And like when he heard, "Oh, Perillo's gonna be there too!" Oh, let's go! I mean, he's from Southie, like he's total Boston guy. Yeah, he was so excited.
They love you,
So,
Paulie.
yeah,
They
so
love you.
No, not like Hardy. You should have seen it. It was like Brady gave him the cameo when he found out. Hardy, that's Hardy!
It's like a
that's Hardy!
13-year-old
Oh,
opening like
yes.
Taylor Swift tickets under the tree.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's another great moment from
Sun's out, fun's out. Get ready for warmer weather with the latest in stock and ready to ship outdoor styles from Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop everything from weather-resistant wicker seating and barbecue-ready bar and dining sets to on-trend indoor-outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and decor. Stop in and shop now to embrace springtime at Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. If there was only a way I could get my grass to look the way it looks now in August, I'd be all set. Like in the spring, the grass comes up, it's thick and green and
You're feeding
lush.
it.
April showers,
no
May
water?
flowers.
What?
You have no water down in your manse?
What do you mean water?
You have no sprinklers?
Cape.
Oh, I could put my own sprinkler. I could water it, but
No,
you
but
get
you
to
don't have-
August and it's like you feel guilty.
No,
there's
I mean,
the problem,
that's,
Fred.
Yeah.
But you don't. What I'm saying is you don't have any.
I don't have
system.
irrigation. No.
I don't either.
Oh.
I don't have an irrigation
Yeah.
system.
Oh, we do, and my dad is not me, but my parents' house does, and like my dad's obsessed with technology, so he's like always on the freaking phone app, like playing with it and stuff. He's like, I don't want the sprinklers to turn on when I get home because then I'll get
he's
wet.
got it. He's
so
got it
I'll
all
just-
on his phone.
Yeah,
now,
and
like all
I'm
his
just like,
timing stuff.
okay, like
That's
it's Mr.
fun.
Go-Go Gadget over here.
That's funny.
No, but like everybody's grass looks great now.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah.
Mine
No?
looks like crap.
Really?
Yeah, no, I agree, Fred. Even mine looks good. And
Mike
I don't.
looks so
I got to
sad.
do some weeding. It's a life project of mine with the lawn, but yeah, I don't know.
I have some minor issues in the back. The rabbits that live back there, but
You got the Japanese knotweed. It's just it's a nightmare.
you got the Japanese knotweed.
Little trivia? Anybody ready?
Let's go.
What is he talking?
What is
Little
that?
trivia?
It's an invasive plant. It's an invasive plant, Paul. It's a big problem.
When is the last time the Patriots wore their silver alternate jersey?
Oh, I helped him write
I need
this
the
one,
week,
so I know
the
who it is.
opponent in the year.
Oh, jeez.
Silver alternate jersey.
All right, we don't know.
I don't
The
know.
answer-
Dallas Cowboys.
No, but it's Buffalo 07, right?
Buffalo 07 week
I was
11.
literally just about to say Buffalo, and you jumped all over me.
Yeah.
Sorry, you had time.
Yeah. Not since
You're
07, and they should. Those are awful.
I did have time. I apologize.
Yeah. Who caught Vinny Testaverde's only career touchdown pass as a New England Patriot?
Christian Fourier.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Daniel Graham.
Incorrect.
I don't know. I don't even think they played together.
Answer is Troy Brown.
I knew it was one of those.
I
guys.
remember.
I thought there was something about Fourier being an answer to a trivia question.
Oh,
With that involved.
overrated.
Finally, how many rushing yards did Fred Taylor have as a New England Patriot?
Oh boy, that's like 2 or 3 games. I'm gonna say 438.
You would be wrong.
217.
Incorrect.
111.
155.
155.
So there
All
you
wins.
I remember, like, I think it might have been against the Jets that he was, because he probably maybe dressed for 2 games, but there was one game at the Jets, I guess it was 10 or 09, that he had like a really nice run. I remember it got called back for a penalty, and this is the weird things to stick in your brain. Like, oh, Fred Taylor, yeah.
So now you see how it works.
And then we never saw him again.
Yeah.
It's a great player.
Speaking of running backs, I have a question for the group.
Yeah.
You guys want to give Ramondre a second contract?
No.
It would have to be very, very team friendly. You know,
coming off an injury right now, no.
And running back, and the way they go through running backs here, and it doesn't seem to hurt them.
I wouldn't give him an extension now.
Yeah.
But after the year, I would let him explode the market and take him back on a Fred deal.
Can I throw a question back at you?
You may.
No, I just looking at the running back depth chart. I mean, considering what they want to, probably do with the wide zone, do you feel like they have the horses right now? I mean, it's Stevenson and Gibson, and then a whole lot of meh. I mean, it's Kevin Harris, undrafted, Deshaun Fenwick, JaMychal Hasty, Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, you got 2 guys, which is kind of what you had last year. But I'd like another guy. Like, and I'm not sure.
Fenwick guy from Oregon State. Why does that ring a bell to me?
I don't think so. That sounds right.
I mean, Fenwick just sticks out to me because that's where my kids
He's not
go
a
to
bishop.
school.
He's not a bishop.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, obviously Antonio Gibson fits it extremely well.
Yeah.
But I do
Does
wonder.
Ramondre?
I think Ramondre does in a one cut sense. If you're asking Ramondre Stevenson to turn the corner, then I don't think that's him. But if your plan is to just stretch it and then cut it back up the field, I think that he could do that sort of thing. I do wonder if they would add another running back at some point, the Zeke Elliott type of signing,
that's a good point.
In
July,
terms
August.
of news, I don't think we mentioned that the other day.
Zeke
Tuesday,
back
he
to-
did officially re-sign
Taking
with
15
Dallas.
too. From Trey Lance. Guy can't get no respect.
I will say, we talked a lot about their ability to continue to win with all those quarterbacks. When Nick Chubb went down, the offense kind of maintained some semblance of competence, so maybe they don't feel like the individual running back is as important as
it shouldn't be in that scheme. And I wonder if they have a Zeke type signing, late
That would make
veteran
sense to
addition, or
unless they like Kevin Harris.
I'll just throw it out there. Jaheim Bell's played running back.
Yep. I got my intel from FSU, in-house intel on FSU.
Oh, well,
Scrap loves
I was going to say, I was like, do you have an actual in? Because I'm writing the profile.
No.
Go talk to Scrap. According to the Patriots video guy, Scrap.
One of our guys he's a psychotic Florida State fan, and he did.
I saw him walking in the other day, and I mentioned it to him. I was like, hey, we got one. We got one
did he
for
stop
you.
here for like 20 minutes and tell you about all the plays? God, that's what happened to me.
I was like, wait, what happened? Why weren't you guys in the playoff?
Yeah.
You just walk into
No,
that hornet's nest.
Don't do that.
Oh, I've done that before, and
Don't
it's
do that.
just for fun,
Fred just comes down
He'll
to
go
talk
off.
to like Matt sometimes, and every once in a while there's like a Scrap rant going on.
yeah.
in the
Oh, no,
back.
I've heard those.
And
Right.
And he looks and he's like, "What's going on down here?"
I mean, for those listening, this is a guy that's called Scrap that has a thick North Shore Boston accent. Is it North Shore accent? Would that be an
No.
accurate way to say it?
No,
a
he's
North
from
Shore Boston?
Boston accent.
Just a Boston, pure Boston
I don't know
accent.
why you have to.
I feel like the North
differentiate
Shore
the North
accents are the
Shore.
hardest.
Just 'cause
ones.
we're better,
The
right?
hardest Boston accents I feel like are North Shore. No, am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
Like
Yeah?
right in the city,
Right in
Dorchester,
Boston? Yeah.
Southie. That's the
North
thickest
Shore is
accent.
Boston in rehab.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of it.
Oh, wow.
Paul looks distraught.
I mean, shots fired at both of us at this point. Like,
It's ridiculous.
Are you
But
claiming
it's
Everett
like
now?
Dorchester, Southie.
Yeah. Well, I don't
like
know.
that.
Because Gino, who we
I
just
think
talked about.
Roslindale, I think, is where he grew up.
Rossi. Yeah, I got ancestors from there. Well, Gino has a good one.
Ancestors?
I do.
How
They're
far
from
back
Ireland.
do you go?
You don't even get me started. No, my Irish ancestors set up shop, and they had like 12 kids. But
shocker.
Just kinda like
there's
every
something
stereotype you're gonna
harsh
throw 'em
though
out.
to me about the North Shore version of the Boston. Like I know
know
the
what you're
Southie
saying.
one. Gino has that, and like it's almost familiar. Cause I think there's so many like Whitey Bulger things that like that's See,
I think if you
but I
went to
don't
the
know.
North Shore, there's not.
I knew a guy
if you
from
went to,
Methuen.
like,
That Methuen
No,
to
it
me
stays
that was
strong all the
always
way up
like,
to
That's not
Lowell.
North
That's
Shore.
that's too,
All the way
that's
up
too
to
far.
Lowell,
Yeah.
it's strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Merrimack Valley. That's not North Shore.
Yeah. Okay.
But like if you go to like If you work your way up, I mean, if you're like in Everett, Revere, that's not really North Shore to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the.
No,
I mean,
no.
Revere Beach is
North
right
Shore
there.
to me is like Beverly.
Yeah, and
Gloucester.
you're not getting
Yeah.
Boston
I got
accents
ancestors
there.
there.
You might get some in
My
Gloucester.
cousins are in Gloucester, and I'll
Gloucester's
tell you.
But Gloucester's
they
a,
have some thick Boston
That's more of a
accents.
blue collar town.
Yes.
You'll get it
They're
in,
all
in
it's a
Gloucester. but
fisherman family.
Marblehead, Rockport,
Yes.
Newburyport, you're not getting Boston accents.
It's weird.
Rich.
That's the North Shore.
It's weird. It
Too much
should be a
money
study,
there.
like, because some people, like, I grew up here. I have no accent. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs, but I don't know. It's just it's strange how it kind of works out. Some
I went to
people have it, some
college,
people
and the friends I met from Eastern Mass thought I had a New York accent,
Hmm.
which is really strange.
That's
I don't know if it's the proximity to
Central and Western Mass
or-
thing. You can go either. That's like Rhode Island.
I just thought I didn't
Rhode
have an
Island has
accent.
New York and Boston
Right.
accents.
Yeah.
It comes out a little bit when you've had a few drinks.
Oh, that's my Boston accent for sure.
Then all of a sudden it's there's no
Are you talking
R's
about yourself or
anymore.
me?
No,
For me.
Yeah, like you're just
He's
like
right.
say or it's everything's wicked.
Yeah. No
And you're
time.
ju-
No,
you're just
no
like-
time for R's once you
you're-
get a couple drinks in you.
Yeah, you're like, oh no.
Fascinating. So
There's nothing like when Fred has no interest in a topic.
Just patiently waiting for it to end.
anyway, Carrie writes in, how adorable is Mike Reese? More of him, please. We just had Mike Reese on. Thanks again for joining us.
He's the
Appreciate
best.
Best
that.
of the best.
Yeah.
He's the pro of all
He is.
pros, and I've said it before that one of the things that's most remarkable to me is like as things have shifted over the last few years and the team wasn't as good, he continued the same level of output and analysis and investment, and as you just saw him talking about. He was down there at Rhode Island yesterday, talking
I
to
wasn't
these guys.
even there yesterday. He
Yeah, Alex
was.
wasn't even
You didn't
there.
go
No.
to that thing yesterday? Oh, he
No.
was. He sort of scurried out right after we shot. Usually we have like a half hour, 45-minute debrief.
Oh yeah, no.
After
none
we
of that,
shoot, and
none of that.
we got about 15 minutes, and he's like,
Gotta get to Providence.
sorry, I gotta.
Oh yeah, no. That's the
felt
best
terrible.
part
Always
about Mike
hushed
Reese
tones.
is that he always feels terrible for
Yes.
going to do something more important than talking to you in that moment. Yeah.
Let's get back to the phones. Hey,
I
stick
knew.
another
I
one.
knew as soon as
Another
I
one, not
said it. I
interested.
was like, I'm wrapping this up.
Fred's like, I made him, whatever.
Todd's in North Carolina. What's up, Todd?
Yeah, I want more Mike Reese too. He's a great interview for you guys. I love it.
Yep, good guy.
So I would like to do some way too early little predictions for the season.
Oh, let's go.
You guys up for that?
Sure.
Okay.
Let me start with number of games Drake May plays.
7.
I was gonna say
In his
6.
career?
Just this year.
Oh, just this year.
Oh, Fred.
I said this year.
You
I
are
did
caution.
preface it.
I would say 12.
Oh wow,
Oh, I like that.
that's a big number.
Kobe,
Yeah,
5 games.
I think 7, 8 is good for you guys. I agree with you guys. Right in the middle.
Okay.
Technically, there is no middle.
Which receiver will have the best yak?
Pop Douglas.
Oh.
Yeah, like that.
I feel like we're forgetting about Pop Douglas.
Demario Douglas is probably
That's
the
a good
the
one.
right answer.
And I'm gonna start.
Javon
reminding
Ba-
people that he
Yeah,
exists.
Javon Baker.
Cool. How many times? Well, first of all, will Paul ever give the nod this year? And if so, how many times?
Oh,
No nods.
No.
That's my last
No
question,
nods.
guys.
Not free zone.
No
Take care.
nods.
Picture man.
All right. Thanks,
Yeah,
Todd.
Nod's been retired.
Is the Paul nod like a Tommy point?
That's
The
when
nod went the
Tom,
other-
when
It's
Paul
like
knows
the
that
game's
there's
over.
no way
The
anyone's
game's
winning. No way the Patriots are
the
losing.
nod went
he
the other
gives
way in recent
Oh
years.
yeah, yeah. The nod went they ain't winning
And
this game.
I never publicized the reverse nod, but there have been a lot of those.
It might be time to retire.
Could be
the
like the
nod.
shake.
Had a great
yeah,
run.
that shake.
The nod and the shake. I got the shake. They ain't winning this one.
No, it used to be like 0-4. Patriots go up 7-0. Look over to Paul.
Game.
He'd like, that's it. Game's over.
I give Fred the knowing look.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's see. Jordan writes in, subject line, Evan, I'm worried. He's from Hawaii. I'm excited. What's the
Aloha.
worry about in Hawaii? Like
Well,
just volcanoes.
Worried about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or did he just-
I don't know.
Worried about
Let's
the
read.
draft
Let's
class.
find out. I'm excited about all of the new toys
Huh?
the Patriots got for their offense in the draft and elsewhere this year. Brings a lot of excitement, new energy, I think, to the team. But I also have a big concern. AVP has already said that they're going to be a running team. They will run the ball to open up the play action down the field. Does that mean they just need to move here and there, or they need big chunk runs? Because I'm worried that they don't have the talent at running back to pick up yards consistently. Mondre had one good season. Other than that, he's been plagued with injuries and not productive behind a bad line. Just want to know if I'm alone here. Do you also have concerns with the O-line or running back room not being good enough to open up those shots downfield?
Well,
I'll hang up and
yeah,
listen.
everybody else just shut your mics off. And I would just say that to quell your concerns, there is absolutely no statistical connection to rushing success and play action success.
Could not agree more.
Those two things do not correlate. That teams that run the ball well also play action well. Now, teams that dress up play action well. You know, if you show teams blocking schemes that look like your runs and you marry it together to your runs, or you use little indicators or formations or personnel groupings that typically lend themselves to your run plays, that's when you really get on play action. That's why teams like the Niners and the Rams and all these teams are so good at it, because everything looks the same. It's in the first phase of the play, you cannot tell if it's a run or a pass, and then they just hit you with the play action, and then you're screwed.
Yeah. My concern would be about just the desire to run the ball first and foremost.
That's my big concern.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to be a running team. I want to be
I don't want to be.
No,
a running
I want to be a 2024 NFL offense.
Well, I think that what they're trying to do is, I just think that the concern that you have is, I guess maybe what the emailer is getting at is they still, I think, lack high-end talent on the offensive side of the ball. Like, I'm excited about these receivers as much as everybody, but I said the other day on Twitter that, you know, the only miss to me this offseason is Calvin Ridley. And we don't even need Ridley now. It's like, you don't even know if these guys can play. Like, for all we know, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker is Aaron Dobson and Josh Boyce. Like, you know, how did that go?
Paul's guys.
Right?
I like Boyce.
You know, how did that go?
Works every
To
time.
me, there's only
Unbelievable.
To me, there's two times in the modern NFL where running games are successful. When you got a guy who's just so good, like your guy.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry?
Yeah. Or when your passing game is so good that teams just, you know, have to give up the run at times because they have to focus. And otherwise, like, I don't think, and, you know, to whoever's point made, I don't think there's anyone on this team right now that's that good a runner that, you know, you can just run the ball and be successful.
Yeah, they might be fine running the ball, but if you can't throw it effectively traditionally, not just like
on first down, right?
Like
smoke and mirrors.
Like Evan just talked about, you're dressing it up. I think that Alex Van Pelt probably knows how to do that, and they probably will hit some plays doing that this year. I know that's his offense. I mean, when Cleveland was looking really good late in the year with Joe Flacco, he was hitting chunk plays to David Njoku off of those hard play actions with Flacco. He has the big arm to get the ball there, and I think I could see that with Drake May. I could absolutely see big plays. But if you can't throw it consistently traditionally, you're not going to be a high-powered offense.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you're just running and trying to set up play action, it's not going to be good enough.
Well, it's like, you know, with the 49ers, like, they run into this problem, it feels like, every single year, especially late in the playoffs, where eventually it becomes a traditional drop-back game, and it's Jimmy Garoppolo versus Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and who always wins, you know, the better drop-back passer. So I understand that's my concern, but, you know, with the running thing, I think, you know, the other way that you're a good running team is if your quarterback can run. Because now if you're playing 11 on 11 and the quarterback's a factor in all of these rushing schemes, that's what Baltimore does. You know, that's what the Eagles do. Like now you're in a different element of run. That's really the teams, other than teams like San Francisco are really talented offensively. The teams that are really good running teams and nowadays are Baltimore, Philly, you know, those types of teams.
Where the quarterback is part of the running game.
And San Francisco would be that example of a high-powered offense that does it that way. Absolutely.
Well,
Evan makes a good point.
San Francisco is...
But they're so loaded.
They're so loaded. Yeah. Like, if their offense is a problem for the defense. Like, you don't know where it's coming on any down because they have weapons everywhere on the field. That's where every offense wants to be. You know, that's the goal for every offense, that we can line up any way and do anything out of any formation, and it puts the defense on their heels. Right. But you need talent to do that. You know, it's hard to do. Yeah. There was a time when the Patriots were kind of like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, back in the day.
Oh God,
yeah,
they had a lot of offenses like that.
You know, we were talking about late bloomers. You know, people who started
somebody
slow.
got one?
Yeah, the most interesting Patriots fan in the world, James Pettigrew, says, wondering, didn't it take a bit of time for Nate Solder to come on?
Well, he sat behind Matt Light, right?
Yeah, and then he got kind of thrust in as a right tackle initially. and-
Yeah,
I mean,
he's one of those guys that
kinda.
plays some right tackle.
Yeah, I wouldn't poo-poo that.
I mean, if you're talking about being really good, I'm not sure I think he was kind of an average tackle.
Oh.
So it might, but he played pretty quickly.
Brewski, I couldn't speak to this. Maybe you guys could, but Brewski seems like he was a guy who
He
kind of
was a
started
late
out
bloomer.
as a.
Yeah, he couldn't cover at first, and I
Well-
remember Parcells talking about it that we need to get him in coverage.
The thing with him was it was such a dramatic position change.
Yeah.
You're going from a defensive tackle to a linebacker.
Yeah.
He was an interior pass
Nobody
rusher.
makes that move.
He had the NCAA sack record.
Yeah.
That's what he did. And
he was basically just a special teams player early in his career, and then he.
Yeah.
I remember Mike, I don't know if you know, but I remember when I talked to Teddy once.
He yelled at you?
He talked about he never really felt like a true linebacker until he picked off a pass against Detroit on Thanksgiving in 2002.
Yeah.
It's like his 6th year.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny.
Yeah, it took him a while, but paid off. Progress. What is it?
Alex.
Patience, progress, payoff, or I don't know.
Payoff's the end. Progress is in there somewhere.
This is
What's
yours.
the-
This is your slant.
No, you had the first half. I had the second
progress,
half.
Process.
I don't do word
payoff.
art. There's
Okay.
no word art in my home.
All right. Jonah says, and this one's kind of a reach. I don't know if anyone remembers, but Jamar Chase was dropping balls in his rookie preseason because he claimed the NFL balls were bigger.
Yeah, that lasted like maybe a week,
Right.
and then
but that doesn't qualify as being a bust,
or even people thinking he might be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I actually do remember there being some talk about that him complaining.
Yes.
Well, not complaining, but just saying I have to get used to the.
I always wonder
the
about
size of
that.
the
No one
ball.
ever talks about that. Like even the quarterbacks, like it's all of a sudden the ball's bigger. How much of a change is
Duke.
that?
It's longer.
Yeah.
The
yeah. Tell me more about it, Paul. What about its
The
girth?
Duke is longer?
The
girth?
college ball is shorter and fatter.
The girth of the ball.
All I could think about was Mike when I started thinking of it.
Plus, it has the stripe on the tip in college.
And they started implanting
It's just at the tip.
microchips in it, so you know exactly where it goes and
Yeah.
when and how
Right.
fast and everything.
Right.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh,
Can I just say I'm going to be laughing for the rest of for the foreseeable future, thinking about them having Crate and Barrel wine me those kind of signs up,
Right.
like those like.
Oh,
you know,
I hate when like. I don't want to insult
No
anyone
humans
here,
allowed,
but people
dogs
that have
only.
those in their houses.
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
just can't stand. Or like college girls in their dorm room. Hang in there, kitty.
Yeah,
with
right,
the
right,
little
right.
kitty hanging on the branch.
There's a
I was
good.
How many college dorm rooms have been for little girls?
Hang in there. What does that mean? I have to say,
I stunned him.
I was gonna say something.
He's sitting on the bunk,
Well, like,
sitting on the bunk bed with his feet hanging off. So what do you got there?
You never hung out in the all girls dorms in college?
I don't
He
think
went
we
to
had
BU.
any.
It was
No?
like
I don't
it's like
think there
Fight
were
Club
any
there.
all-girls
Everybody,
dorms. They were
everybody
co-ed.
just kind of
At
enters.
Tampa, there were a couple all girls and then all boys, and then everything else was co-ed.
At Holy Cross, the girls'
you were
floors.
back in that era.
Yeah, at Holy Cross, the girls' floors were locked, and so you used to have to like.
I was gonna say at Holy
Oh,
Cross.
you have to get
pound,
somebody to get
and then
you
the
in.
poor
Yeah.
two girls who like had the dorm closest to the door had to always come and
didn't
like
have
let the
anybody that
boyfriends
worked?
in.
I was
you
gonna
know?
say at
Ours was
Holy
like
Cross they
every
like
other
police
floor.
it, right? You're not allowed to like stay anywhere.
Oh, well, they didn't do it
No.
when I was there.
No,
I
I
stayed
think
in
that's only.
Milady
I'm
Free
only,
plenty of times.
I'm only kidding. I think that's Notre Dame though. That is like that.
Yeah, you can't.
Notre Dame is like you are not allowed to have female or male visitors depending on your preferences.
Oh, well, definitely. They didn't even drink there.
No masks, no rules.
Some good
Yeah,
TikToks
they
on that.
didn't have any of those rules at BU.
No.
Anyway.
I can attest.
A couple prescriptions later.
No.
Oh, okay.
Kind of
Jeff
a
in
steady
Canada, I gave the draft process an A. I say the process
Hey.
because that's all we can grade right now. We can't grade players who've never played a snap in the league. But at the end of the day, every football fan knew their needs, and they took swings at all of those positions. I didn't hear your opinions yet, unless it was in the first half of the show, on the tight end for FSU Bell. I've heard he could be a steal, but he's a 7th rounder, so who knows? Well, both Mike Reese and Evan concur.
Well,
Yeah,
Evan,
that's
I mean,
my guy.
Yeah, you just see me.
Yeah, I think that the the process, I think you're only looking at the positions that they picked as opposed to how they did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think there's some questions as to how they did it.
Me too. And that's why I couldn't say, like, oh, it's if you had to do the stupid thing and give a grade. I mean, I think the only thing you really grade is how well did you hit the needs. And I think they did hit the needs, but I think it probably could have been a little bit better with the left tackle need. And
I think they could have moved a little bit or changed the order slightly and maybe better maximize the
but if they had gone like cornerback,
then
guard,
we'd be giving it an
strong
F for a
safety.
process.
I mean, that's an F.
Yeah.
You know who I'd like to ask Elliot to ask his father who he thinks was the best draft day negotiator over the phone that he's ever dealt with.
In terms of picks.
Yeah.
Ask your daddy. Can you ask your daddy?
You know, I'll bet you that there's
daddy.
people out there that are better than others.
Yeah.
Like you get him on the phone, you just couldn't say no. He was the best. You know, it was so fast. Before you knew it, you'd given up a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that in terms of, you talk people that we've been talking to now after the draft and things like that. A lot of people say that the league had Jalen Polk higher than the media did. And now this type of stuff comes out every year. A player gets slightly overdrafted, and then all of a sudden there's this media campaign about how the league was higher on him than the media was. But that was one of them. That I felt like that. And with Jaheim Bell, I was just talking to Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl director, for all of our profiles on these guys. And he said point blank that Jaheim Bell is going to make a 53-man roster.
Was he at the Senior Bowl?
Yes.
Of course he was.
And he got the hat.
I have to agree with him, though. I agree with what Mike Reese said to us earlier to a T. There's a clear role and path for him to make the roster. It's not like we're talking about him beating out, a bunch of receivers or something like that out of nowhere. But there's a clear role projection for him as this explosive tight end when they have some veteran guys that aren't exactly in that mold.
And that's why I always get into, like, I don't really necessarily care. Like, a lot of people will do the evaluation. Well, that's a great draft. They drafted 8 guys, and all 8 of them made the roster. The Pete Carroll Patriots were famous for this with Bobby Greer. Do you remember how many linemen they used to draft that couldn't play at all, Fred? Damon Denson, Scott Rayburg. They all made the roster every year. What a draft. What a draft. These guys couldn't play.
Was a monster. He was like 6'8", and back in the day on the plane, they had the TVs that would hang from the ceiling. Every trip he'd hit his head. It's like,
and giggle.
Don't you learn after the first time that you have to every trip he'd hit his head on that TV?
But they would have like their 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. They would make the team, and everybody'd be like, "What a great draft!" Great drafts with like Chris Canty and Brandon Mitchell. At the top of the great draft. These guys can't play just because. So if Jaheim Bell got drafted by a team that had really good tight end depth and he didn't make the team, it's not any better or a worse pick than it is, as Evan said, if he has more of an opportunity to actually make the team here. Can he play?
Yeah.
We'll find that out.
He could play at Florida State. I don't know if it's going to translate, but
it's funny because that was one of our questions, like the draft pick that you liked the best, and we both wanted to say Bell.
Yeah.
After not including Drake May.
Yeah.
It's kind of like best Patriot of all time. Non-Tom Brady category.
Rob Gronkowski.
Can't say Joe Milton.
We wanted to have our. Listen, you can keep trying.
I actually have something to say about Joe. I have something to say about Joe Milton too, but
we both wanted Bell, and I said, you talk about Bell, and I ended up taking Baker.
Yeah.
Just as my pick because I didn't lie, but I do like Baker as a pick.
Yeah.
But
I'd say Polk.
I like the athleticism of the tight end.
Yeah.
I do think there's a chance.
Can they take advantage?
And Scrap, and I'm not gonna lie, Scrap was like really made me.
You got a dog.
I can see the traits that you're talking about.
He can run the seam. There's no doubt about that. And he can catch the ball. He can catch and run with it. And if you look at what Drake May does well in terms of throwing the middle of the field, if you have a 4-6 tight end that can split the seam, this is one of those guys that can do that. And Drake May can throw that pass all day long.
No? 4-6 tight end. He's a bigger guy than that, Mike.
But the thing I was going to tell you about Joe Milton, our favorite 6th-round pick, is that Nagy again mentioned that down at the Senior Bowl they have an award that they give out every year for everybody's favorite guy at the Senior Bowl. It's the Good Guy Award of the Senior Bowl, And it just so happened that the good guy of the 2024 Senior Bowl was one Joe Milton.
Oh, there you go. I had somebody in my office yesterday who, not from the South, but who sometimes likes to talk with a Southern accent, said, "No, he had a pretty good year in Tennessee last year, you know." I was like, okay.
No, no, he didn't.
Just on the Milton thing, and I know that you guys don't like busting, which is fine. I deserve it.
Oh, it's all right.
This is not about what I think of Joe Milton as much as what ensued after that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Fred and I have disagreed on our evaluations of different elements and players for 20 plus years. This is not about that he didn't agree with my viewpoint on Joe Milton.
No, that's right.
I'll just drop it there and leave it at that.
We both agree on a lot of things.
And we both disagree on a lot of things.
Since the show's running out and it'll cut off like the question in my mind though with Milton is just like what's the best case scenario for the Patriots with him? What is the best case scenario?
I told you in the last show.
What is it?
That it's obvious to him that he can't play quarterback.
That's the best case scenario
and they
for the
have
Patriots?
a conversation with him. Why don't you give something else a try, like tight end? And then that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like the best case scenario for the Patriots is that if he needs to be Kirk Cousins, then he's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he puts it all together. It'd be the best case
Yeah,
scenario.
I mean,
all these.
But that's not a great case scenario because that means Drake May got hurt though, right?
But that's
So
the
it's
whole
not
idea of
great-
having him,
he
right?
just-
The insurance policy.
But even
Like,
if he just develops,
Yeah. No, I know, and that's where my head
and
goes.
all of a sudden
like,
you look like this guy's a much better pro quarterback than he was in college.
let's flip him maybe.
after being in college for so long that
With the most
Mike
quarterback-friendly system of all
Onwenu
time.
was his college teammate.
Yeah. See,
Mike Onwenu was going into year 5 in the NFL,
but if
and they
you're-
played
if-
together at
if
Michigan.
You're a Joe Milton fan, a real fan.
too.
Yeah.
Was Uche with him?
Joshua.
You shouldn't
Joshua
be. You should be rooting for Jacoby Brissett to get hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I don't root
Not
for
Drake
anybody to
May.
get hurt, Fred. I mean,
Why?
I don't want injuries.
Why am
I think
rooting
all
for
three of
people-
those
Because right
guys could
now-
make
Why
the
am I
team.
rooting for people to get hurt?
Because but Joe Milton
That's untoward.
is buried on the depth chart. He's not even he's not the backup.
No.
He's not the backup. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
he
right
may
now
not-
he's not even 3.
He may not even see time in preseason.
Oh, he will.
Oh.
Why? What
Well,
else?
why-
Why else is he here?
They have 2 quarterbacks they need to get ready before him.
Jacoby doesn't need to get ready. He just played in this offense 2 years ago.
They need to see what they've got.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a tremendous amount of Jacoby Brissett.
What do they
in
need?
preseason.
No, Joe Milton is the fourth quarter of preseason. Is Joe Milton's time to shine, baby.
I'm
That's his time.
That's
Okay,
fall time.
Listen,
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I feel like everybody in this offense is starting from square one.
I think he'll play, but I don't think he's going to play a ton.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a great idea. You know, maybe we could get Joe Milton to throw Patriots Unfiltered T-shirts to people at training camp.
There you
know,
go.
like up on the and there it goes. You know, we don't need to get that $1,000 T-shirt cannon I've been looking for. We
Problem
just Joe
solved.
Milton, give him some oranges, give him some T-shirts. And
Can do
Problem
backflips
I have
too.
to say, I was watching
Insane.
his tape the other day. The power in his arm it's truly
Power.
elite.
He's,
Well,
he's
like-
better than Drake May.
Like not even just in terms of, it's not just that he throws the deep
Paul,
ball.
it's already started. It's already.
It's not
started.
even just that he throws the deep ball far though. Like that's one thing. Like okay, Jamarcus Russell threw
But
the ball 80
he's
yards
got a
too.
15-yard out on a frozen rope. Yeah.
It might be 10 yards over the guy's head.
But it was hard.
And I think that's the one thing that just with both these guys, for so long in the last 5 years or so, the Patriots have been in this situation with quarterback where they couldn't access all the parts of the field because the quarterback just didn't have the arm for it. So basically, like everything outside the numbers in the deep middle of the field were just like off limits. Like we're not even
Up the
going to
seams.
we're not even going to draw plays for these areas of the field. Now they have two guys that like you just have to hope they keep it on the field. You know, like they have such arm talent that now all of a sudden every blade of grass is accessible.
That's what I'm interested in.
You're
Just
getting
because
people excited, Evan.
That's what gets me excited
Yeah.
about it. Is like you can really see that Drake May, Joe Milton, whoever, those guys, there's no longer we can just fall asleep on this play defensively because he's rolling to his right and there's no way he's going to flick it back to these guys can flick it back to the left. Like they can go 40 yards in the opposite direction just fine.
That's what I'm interested in. Is I have a sense of Bailey Zappi already, having watched him. And so just to see the comparison between what we've seen in his arm, which is admittedly, fairly average to below average, but, is it that noticeable right from the get-go? Drake May just...
And by the way, you got to move Bailey Zappi, right? He can't be on the roster.
Probably.
The final roster.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he might have like a teensy-weensy bit of
a
value.
market? You think he's got a market?
In August, like if some quarterback gets hurt and they need a backup.
Well, again, if that's the case, then Joe Milton's even further down the depth chart.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait till you see this arm, though, Fred.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe the arm. I believe the arm. Head is the other thing I've heard. Jack in Ann Arbor, talking about late bloomers. Rob Ninkovich, late bloomer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good. I mean, that's.
We
a good, I
didn't
mean,
draft him.
Yeah, but we didn't draft him. That's why he probably didn't. But I mean, a guy
Well-
that came here as a long snapper in like the second or third week of August. You know, I
Mike
think
Vrabel?
it's definitely. No, he was scratching the surface with
A
Pittsburgh.
really good
and-
player for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he became a really good player in New England.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Second
Throwing
round
that
pick.
out
But I mean,
I believe it was a second round pick out of Ohio State. Like that's.
But Ninkovich's story, one of my favorites of, especially because that time it was, this was the defensive turnover. I mean, Ninkovich was that diamond in the rough that they were able to uncover that, made them able to overcome the losses of, the Seymours and, and McGinnis and the Vrabels.
And I'm thinking more of players the Patriots drafted.
Yeah,
and
me
then
too.
you kind of wrote
Didn't
off.
do much, hung around. I mean, Edelman to some extent, but I think he just
Edelman
didn't
could be one of those.
I was gonna say him, but I feel like in
Edelman's
order to
fun.
be a bust, you have to be like hyped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
fair too.
Yeah.
Hard to say the 7th round pick.
Right.
Yeah, guy that had expectations.
Like
didn't
Edelman
live,
was
but
just happy
then-
to be there.
Then came back and it's hard to come up with those guys. All right, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. I hope everyone has a good weekend. I think we've talked about everything we need to talk about. The Brady tickets are sold out, but
Did you talk about Joey Sly?
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
a little bit.
a little bit.
Kicker.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Kicks the ball.
Sly guy.
All right, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original.